Generically.
While you're doing that, here's a good question. Maybe it shows in our group that I haven't looked yet. Do we have money that we left on Earth? Or
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
30 grand.
30 grand, got it.
30 grand.
Because I know we converted a bunch of stuff to ice, or not, some stuff to ice, and even if we still have that...
some items you sold to ice. Yeah.
And even if we still have that, not much use to us down here.
The card is not going to help, no.
No. Oh, you know what, though? Here's a question. Is the card of a different technology that we're familiar with?
Yes. Well... Yes, but it's not like revolutionary.
Of
course,
mean,
it was very similar to cards that hold credit sometimes, but the chips and whatnot are different. You're not super familiar with credit tech.
Right.
You do know it's different.
That's
all you know.
I'm just thinking we pile everything that's different together and see who wants it.
Well, I mean... Do we want to tell them where we got this stuff? Because they will ask questions.
Sure, why not? We just be tight-lipped about how we got there and got back. We just don't have to tell them.
I would be cautious about that, mainly because even the Coalition can't get into space, and they don't know why they can't get into space. They know that it gets shot down by something, but they have no idea what it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now
and
here's
letting
the question.
The Coalition into space might be a
Well, but here's the thing. So here's the deal. When we can be tight-lipped, there's no reason not to be. But here's an interesting question. Say we tell them, yeah, you can't get into space because it's a giant debris field that destroys anything going up and through it. Does that really tell them anything? It tells them that there's a giant debris field that will blow you up if you try and go through it.
It tells them that it's possible through conventional means.
In that case, I would suggest, if impressed, we say we were caught up in a ley line storm and shot there accidentally, and managed to find a rift back.
Another idea could be, depending on if our characters were to know if rifts put you to different dimensions, right?
They put you everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. So, we went through a rift and we appeared somewhere in space.
Yeah.
We don't know where, we don't know how, and this is the tech that we got, and we got back to Earth.
I am all for that. And in fact, I don't think we've ever talked about it too much, but if we ever wrote like books and all that, of course I want to include our space adventures. We just have to come up with something a little bit less detailed than what actually happened.
Right.
So I think a rift is a good way, because that's a random, you can't recreate that event.
Yeah.
So I was just about to ask a question, but now I forgot. I'm eager to start because we started streaming, but oh well, it must not have been I wasn't to ask something. It was to say there's a picture actually. Allie drew us another picture on Twitter. On the Rifty Cells.
Let me double check that then.
Yep.
I didn't click on live. That's what I did.
Yep. Gotta click on Mr. Live. Doodle of Mila talking with the robot.
Excuse me.
I does not compute identify. I'm Mila.
and Al is very. It's true. Even as much as Al can put up with Mila and finds her adorable, there are moments. It's just like,
why are you? All right. So, are you guys ready? We can kind of get in session here if you like.
Sure, I'm good.
I gotta show off this picture.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you're ready.
There's a picture. It's right there.
It's like I'm there. We good?
Mm-hmm. This was drew by
Alrighty.
Ali-Glassrose.
Yeah. I'll take you guys over to the big old map here. Why not? Since you guys are just a little ways southeast of Winter's Outpost, we'll start the session. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. The sun has completely set, and it is now entering twilight. The air is fresh and cool. The weather of a climate that is shifting from winter to spring. A small update for you folks. The behemoth, the leg of the behemoth specifically, will still require a little bit more time to repair. If you leave the Northern Gun light robot to its task, it will be finished in 6 hours. If Patrick decides to assist him during the entire time, it will cut that in half in 3 hours. And it will fix up the leg enough so it will have the strength and mechanical fortitude so it can transport or walk itself back into the Rhapsody's very large cargo bay.
Excuse me. Patrick would definitely have helped to expedite this.
Okay, all right. So your day gets a little bit longer. You finish at 11 o'clock. I'll just move ahead at that point. So I believe you guys in your group loot, you have 80 some MDC worth of materials, repair materials. I'm going to just quickly browse the group loot myself, but I'm pretty sure that's what you had stored on the behemoth.
Should be, yeah.
Let's double check here though. Could have swore. Yeah, there we go. 81 MDC group items on that last page. Left for Earth. 81 MD worth of mega damage materials. So what I like you guys to do, just someone, any sort of volunteer, is move to the behemoth section where you've recorded down your damage.
Excuse me as I actually get to the entire sheet here.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can wait a moment or two.
My Firefox is lagging for some reason.
Yeah, that's what happens when we have technology. It's no big deal. What I'm going to do, since I'm already in the section that I need to, I'm going to reduce your 81 to 31, since you're going to be using 50 mega damage, so you guys don't need to rechange that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll also move to the behemoth too, and we'll see who gets there first. Dun, 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 dun. The Rhapsody. You guys have so many vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
There's Jackie. I can hear myself in the background somehow.
It may be me.
That's okay. Only when I say things really loudly, I guess. Are you guys at the behemoth?
Yeah, but my Firefox has not responded again.
Find.
Where is the behemoth? I don't see it.
It's on my
the
item backup. I've been meaning to transfer it back.
Oh, okay. So it's in Tom's. I was gonna say I don't see it either. I've gotten to people's stuff. That's fine, as long as we know where it is, and we'll transfer it at some point.
Yeah, well, we should transfer it now because I want to record how
Yes.
much damage it has. It is significant. Which reminds me then, while you're doing that, since you didn't write down the amount of damage that you guys took when you first found the behemoth, I'm gonna look up my past session and check my notes for the exact damage.
I don't see
There we go.
Tom's items.
No. He has it on another sheet somewhere. He cut and
Oh,
pasted
I
it out.
see. Okay, got it.
I think I was making sure. Oh yeah, I didn't get the hands correct, but I got the legs correct. The rest was half damage, if I
Yep.
recall correctly.
With the exception of the exterior sensor system, which is gone.
Five.
Our beautiful, unnamed behemoth.
Oh, here I'll draw where your current location is. Whoop! That red dot, south of Winter's Outpost. Let me know when you're ready there, Burn.
I am almost ready. 10. This compartment is 100. Good.
Okay, great. So you can repair the leg. The right leg will now have 50 out of 250 MDC. It is now repaired late at night. Of course, working lights have to be set up, but we can just roleplay that via narratively. It's not roleplay it, but just talk about it. That's fine. And everything else is, of course, unchanged. But the behemoth is able to power up and lurch towards the vehicle and get it all set. Now, as far as your missing items go, I'm going to just quickly go to your group set. So you are... Okay, you guys already took it out. Oh, you know that golden claw? One of the golden claws that you had? That was traded away, actually, for food to the die-in.
Okay.
But everything else there is fine, with the exception of the armor, the gladiator armor. Where do you guys have that put away?
Down under the missing items for the behemoth. Under Al's items heap on Earth. We have 5 complete sets.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that Mila's terrain hopper is back. Has a little bit of damage to it. All the weapons are back. And Tom's custom body armor is still there. Oh, that is this. One of the CV-12 variable light laser rifles is also missing. And of the 5 complete sets of gladiator armor, all of them are down to about 60% armor. So I believe they have about 80, so it's 60 out of 80. Pretty much. I know, well, that's a little above 60%, but whatever. 60 out of 80 MDC is damaged, so they're down about 20 MDC each. They took a few shots. But everything else has been reclaimed. While we're doing this little keeping, I do want to say what you guys do have is a absolute glut of food. In addition to significant amounts of protein, specifically cured and salted pork and goat meat that was traded with the die-in, you still have over 4 months, actually 6 months, because when they went on Mars expedition, obviously they packed for a few extra months of food in case of emergencies. You have over 6 months of preserved, more of a vegetable-based food aboard the Rhapsody. And that is not including what can be grown in the botanical lab on the Rhapsody as well. Suffice to say, there is enough food to feed 40 people for half a year if properly rationed.
Damn.
And
nice.
just nearly that amount of clean water, or in some cases, there's some milk as well, goat's milk that was traded for. Obviously, that will have to be drinking first, but you also have a glut of clean water as well. So you're good for food.
I may have missed it. Do we know about how long it will not spoil for?
The vegetation is fine. The meat, on the other hand, a lot of it is salted and cured, so it should be fine for a few months. As long as you eat that stuff first, you will not have any spoilage over the 6 months.
Okay. My first thought, guys, is that how many times have we run into a group of people like Flint that are desperately in need of food? Maybe hold on to it for a while?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely thinking of holding on to it.
Yeah, and that way, because that way we can be like, oh, food? We do have some.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to send the survivors of Elzone Primoffs with some food too.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Wherever we send them, well, we know where we want to send them, but wherever we send them, we should not. We should give them door prizes. We don't want to send them off empty-handed.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I believe there was discussion that your next destination will probably be to Lacree. Am I correct?
Yes, though I would like it known, just and it can just be narrative that while the behemoth was getting repaired and everything was getting taken care of, Al would be attending to any sort of medical wounds that would need more attending to. Now that everyone is back safe and sound, and we can take a moment to breathe.
Okay, you can patch a few people up. A lot of it is not significant, just cuts and bruising. You make sure nothing is broken. You make sure everything is clear as infection. You make sure any wound is cleaned. But we can, like you said, handle narratively. Okay. Anywho, am I good to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the next destination for the Rhapsody is Lacree. So, to be fair, there is absolutely no reason for you guys to give me a friggin' mile by mile path in which you will be traveling to Lacree. Al knows, actually, all of you know general locations in North America, since you did travel from the east around Parents Post to this area once before. Okay? So I'm going to. So, sorry, I got distracted. So I'm going to tell you some general areas that you know about, and you can tell me whether you want to try to avoid them, or go over them, or go through them. Okay? Of course, almost directly to the west of your current location is an area called the Magic Zone. Densely compacted, forested, not completely forested area, but it is certainly a very wilderness-filled area that is known to contain quite a few spellcasters, and specifically members of the Federation of Magic. To the north of you, if you go even further north, you do know there is the coalition state of Free Quebec. Slightly to the west of that, to the southwest of that, what used to be in southern Ontario, Canada, is the area of the the Laszlo area. Then you get by Michigan, of course, which is by Parents Post and News Laszlo. Then directly to the southwest of that is the coalition state of Chi-Town. And to the northwest of that is the independent states of Ipshaming and the Manastique Imperium. Also, a little bit north of Laszlo is the coalition state of Ironheart. So, where do you want to go over? Where do you want to go through? Where do you want to avoid?
Well, Al would bring up that the Federation of Magic is the boogeyman of the Coalition that children grow up hearing horror stories about. And while his views of what the Coalition does or does not tell or know has changed, it still might be best to think that there's some truth to that. At least from his point of view, he would be very uncomfortable going over the Federation of Magic.
Well, there's also Ver, who warned us not to go over, or to not venture towards the Federation of Magic.
Even more reason. In fact, maybe a little bit stronger from my point of view. And he would also mention, well, I guess everyone would know, like you said, the Free Quebec is a member of the coalition state, and best to avoid such things. If it's possible to plan a flight path that does not go through any coalition territory, or at least, through any coalition official territory, that would be best.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid the Federation of Magic, and you want to avoid any sort of coalition territory. At least the coalition territory that Al knew as coalition territory when he was still with the coalition states.
Right. Absolutely correct.
Okay.
In fact, is it fair to say Al's like, in case they do push out a little bit, because Perrin did say they are starting to scout out around here, let's give it a buffer zone. Let's give it a buffer zone of, say, a good 20, 30, 40 miles of what I used to know.
Okay. Alrighty. So the only other question that I have for you guys in regards to travel is, how high up are you going to go? How fast do you want to go? And when do you want to leave? The behemoth gets loaded into the bay at around 20 after 11 o'clock in the evening. And many individuals from the L Zone Prime ask if they can use the quarters of the behemoth to rest in, since many of them have been doing that already for the few weeks when they've been on the run.
I'm cool with them resting in at least my quarters. I just want to clear my stuff out.
Same here. Al's fine taking a couch in the entertainment room.
You also still have rooms on board the Rhapsody.
Yeah, he's talking about the rooms in the behemoth. They want to use the
right.
rooms.
It's
Yeah.
I need to adjust to a thing within a thing. Yeah,
Like
no
a
problems
Russian
there.
nesting doll of robot.
Right.
Yeah.
Robot rooms. Yes, I'm fine with this.
Yes.
Okay, great, good. So, how high, how fast, and when do you guys want to leave?
As high as we were when we were going from L Zone Prime to Winter's Outpost,
I
fast
believe
as
that was 20 miles in the sky.
Yes, and as fast as that, as fast as that as well.
Okay, then you were going at your full Mach 2 speed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought of something that Al would want to get from his room, if it's still there. His old burnt cybernetic hand.
Oh, his trophy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's still kicking
yeah.
around on the behemoth.
Okay, then he
It
would
was
probably
locked
want
or
to remove that. He would want to remove that from the room and probably transfer it to his room.
All right, done.
You know what? Let's not go full. Let's go cruising. And I'm kind of thinking of doing the whole, hey, let's do this in the morning. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think giving them a good night's sleep before anything happens is a really good idea.
Well, there's also us. We
Yes,
were in
you've had one
space
hell of a
like,
day.
yeah, less than 18 hours ago.
Oh, I know.
after the 7
It's
hours.
just it's Al. He's not thinking about himself. So, but yes, very good idea.
Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. So, with that in mind, if it's okay by you, I can slip to a more descriptive way and kind of move things along, if that works for you guys.
Sure, I do believe that I'm going to have an interaction with Blink, though.
Sure, sure. Why don't we do that now then, if you want?
Sure.
Okay. How do you want to start this off?
Well, actually, earlier on, well, probably after Patrick was done fixing up the behemoth, he is going to. Tom is going to ask Patrick something, so I should start with that first.
Okay.
Remind me, Inferno, how long was my day from repairing such things?
It was 3 additional hours, so you finish up just after 11 o'clock in the evening.
So did I work through the night, or?
No, you worked for about 3 hours. You guys arrived from the die-in at around 8 o'clock in the evening, and you assisted the robot for 3 hours. So you didn't work through the night, but it's getting late.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 11 at night. Got it. So Patrick is most likely going to be in his room on the Rhapsody.
Okay. Tom will knock at his door.
You hear muffled snores.
Oh, jeez. Tom will knock louder,
Who is it?
but it's Tom. I just need something really small from you, just really quickly.
You hear a scuttle around the room. Patrick will open up the door. Surprisingly enough, he is wearing a light blue sleeping gown, shirt and pants, with extremely worn out rubber duckies around them.
That's right. You got that back. Sweet. Tom will go. I'm sorry for waking you up, but do you remember back in Parents Post that camera that you took the pictures of those guys that were trying to steal Al's arm?
Yeah.
Do you still have that? Because I'm pretty sure that you took a picture of me when I was small or younger in my old body.
Took quite a few pictures. Yeah, I'll just have to, actually, I think, did they transfer onto this? No. Okay, I'd have to get the camera, I believe. Oh, how did I bring the camera? This freaking, his eyes been closed this entire time.
Oh. I'm sorry, Patrick. Maybe I could get them from you like tomorrow? Is that fine? Maybe you should go back to sleep. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can, should be in the golden room. I'll get it. And he's gonna wander back to his bed and flop down on it, lazily covering himself as the door is still open to his room.
Tom will go into his room and cover Patrick with his covers. And then go out and close the door behind him.
Okie dokie. That sounds like an end scene if it's one for me.
That's an end scene.
Okay, so in the morning before you guys head off, before the Rhapsody leaves, before people eat, that will be enough time for you to re-access the Golden Room, as long as you do it at around 8 o'clock in the morning.
Patrick is going to think really hard about exactly what he wants to take.
Okay.
He definitely wants the voice changer, since that seems to be a group favorite. Always asking for the.
An item that everyone really wants to use, but you never get a chance to because it's always inaccessible.
Yes. Just mount it on the wall somewhere. Holy shit.
Al actually has a small interaction that he'd do probably the night before. If
Okay.
that's all right. With Alicia.
Of course. All right. Okay. How do you want to set this up? Do you have anything in mind?
Not per se. Al would just kind of track down wherever Alicia is.
You'll find Alicia in the cockpit. She's just doing the final shutdown orders for overnight. Make sure everything's fine, like a final systems check of the engines and everything like that.
Okay.
Make sure it's not gonna. She jokes as you come in. She says, "Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure this thing's not flying away while we're sleeping."
Yes, I've heard that can be bad.
Oh, have you now?
I know you're not gonna like hearing this because you're not that kind, but
Oh boy.
I know that every time we've asked you if you wanted to travel with us or regretted your choices, you've always been pretty rock solid about your choice. What happened down there today was tense. And
Yep.
it was a lot easier doing it knowing that you were on the other side of that car. You are one of the most dependable and skilled people I've ever met. And whatever happens, I just want to say I am eternally grateful you're around.
Thanks, she says. We've been in a lot of sticky situations, though. I mean, we had a showdown with the giant friggin' brain. There was the witch that you pulled me out of. There was the void and his little monster buddies that set us up for an ambush. About a dozen other stories of tricky situations. What is it about this that caused all this sentiment?
It's not so much anything about this one. It's the very fact I realize that every situation you just mentioned, you never once complained. You followed us into every single one of them.
Wilds don't complain. She gives a bit of a smile. I guess it's in my nature. Plus, I always put everything in perspective, Al. I should have been dead already, but I'm not. So all this time I got still breathing is, I guess you could say, bonus time. So, I figure. Why complain about living when I was so close to death before?
Fair enough. Though, that fact doesn't excuse... It is a good idea to make sure that your friends know that they're friends and that they are appreciated from time to time. And I don't think that... I know you aren't that kind of person, but once in a
No,
while...
I'm not, but you really are, she says. I'll make it real clear. If I'm still around you, we're still friends. The second either any of you start becoming raging assholes, then you're not going to find me around no more.
Well, I'll have to change my plans of becoming a raging asshole, push that back about 6 months, and...
Yeah, I mean, you can be a bit of an asshole, but not a raging one. At least not a big gaping one, please.
Well, thanks, Alicia. Just destroying my dreams down there. I'll, like, make mimics crossing something off a list.
Uh-huh, yeah. But in all seriousness, you're welcome.
All right, well, have a good night. And I will just kind of head out.
As you head out, she goes, "Oh, wait."
Hmm?
You turn around.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to sleep with you.
Hal looks at her with the most innocent eyes ever. And he goes, Alicia, you have to learn to let things go.
Uh-huh. She rolls her eyes and sits back down in the chair and finishes up her little system diagnostics.
Hal walks away.
Okay. Good?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So in the morning, has this given you a good time, Piph, to think about what you want to take from the Golden Room? I know you want to take your
Yes.
camera, obviously. That was the whole reason.
Mhm.
What else?
Patrick will most likely ask other people to help him move things out because he's actually brought a lot of things into his golden room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might be a good time to start moving a lot of them out since we're no longer in space.
Yeah, I'll help.
I'm
Okay.
sure. I'm all good for it too.
All right.
Yeah.
When you enter the golden room, everything seems to be exactly how you remember it, but neatly stacked or rowed. Different items and equipment are laid out throughout the room. And if you notice, it's almost too organized, where like you almost could swear everything is like from right to left alphabetical ordered. Like from even the entire room is like that. Organized by like armors, weapons, miscellaneous to things that are almost look like they're hung up as decorations, even though it doesn't seem like great things, like rope and a normal shotgun.
And a shovel.
Now, come on, don't be
Shovel.
crazy here. Yes, I think a
Shovels with
shovel.
this group. Oh god.
So
Yeah, that's cool.
What about Jackie?
Jackie is there.
Yep.
Let's
Deactivated, but
yeah, let's take Jackie and reactivate her. I miss her.
okay. Well, we'll hear what it has to say first. Patrick.
Once you start reaching for it, Patrick is actually going to grab your arm.
What's wrong?
This one might not be. Well, alright. We'll have to do this discussion one day. I don't feel very comfortable about Jackie.
Oh, Al pulls back his hand. Why?
So, back when we met a man with a few robots with him, and we found, our, half-bodied robot dash person dead.
James T.
James T. Jackie threw out. You remember the giant brain? I'm
Yeah,
assuming you
it-
do. Excuse me.
It turned Jackie against us. I remember.
It had a particular, very odd tell that it was under certain control. A different lidded eye. Do you remember what color that was?
Wasn't it blue?
Yes. Of all of the things in the prophecy, there was one thing that was bothering me. Over and over again. One thing in that. Remember what colored fire things would be taking place?
Blue.
Cobalt.
Patrick. I've been going over the prophecy a lot too, and I've had some ideas about our robot friends. I have a question for you.
Yeah?
I didn't really think about it till now, but what it did to Jackie, hacking another robot, and I don't even know what would be involved. I assume changing its program. How difficult would it be to remotely hack and change the program of a robot that quickly?
Well, it depends on how fast code can be changed, integrated, and I've been thinking greatly about how the brain has almost computer-like capacities to do simple maths and other objects. If it was just a simple hack, he could do it in a rather quick time. Enough time for us to not really notice within a few seconds that he's done such things, or she,
But
or
enough.
whatever it may be.
But enough to change its programming so that it attacks its own masters? I can't imagine that's simple.
Bypass and things like that. But that's not the point.
No, what I was thinking was, what do you know about Cyberworks? The ones that made Jackie.
I don't know too much. We haven't really worked with them that much within the Cree, and the ones that I haven't personally worked with, but I assume that we have done at least a bit of business with them.
Is there any chance that they've operated down where we found those robots?
Definitely.
You know, no,
What?
no, nope, nope,
What
nope,
was
nope.
the,
God's gonna throw in for a moment. God's gonna throw in for a little bit. You know, everyone knows, like from Parents Post to Lacree and Cyberworks is a manufacturer from out west. Everyone knows that.
But what about
They
the...
don't- they-
What about the, like, shirts and hats that
I
had...
I know. You found them in that facility in the east by Aberdeen, where you found the giant brain.
Mhm.
But Cyberworks, the company
Mhm.
that everyone knows that manufactures the Titan series of robots, the Titan power armor, and the Cyberworks robots, like custom robots,
Mhm.
they're from out west.
Okay, so they're from the West now, but at least before this calamity or around it, or at least enough of years back that remnants of an old company that shared the same name worked there.
So, in your opinion, which is easier or possible or more likely, that Jackie was hacked or that there's... What if that big giant brain has the plans to Jackie, or a switch, or knows something that can just turn her like that? Or do you think it was just a remote hack?
I don't think it's a remote hack.
Al
that-
starts
that-
looking at Jackie.
That's a fair comparison, Patrick. The only information you have of any sort of remote communication was when you were up in space with that level of technology, and even then, it was one of the Baron's high-tech items, a coveted high-tech item that allowed limited remote wireless communication.
The thing is, we are fairly certain that we have killed, or at least done enough damage to the creature that it would have a hard time doing anything in its current state. Now,
You know, I've been thinking about that too. Are we so sure? Look who told us this. The same man who was murdered by a group of robots. James T told us that after we killed that brain, they would be mindless. Oh, I don't know if that's the words he used, but not able to really do much. Yet he was tracked down and murdered by a group of robots. I don't know, Patrick. I mean,
I don't think it was the brain. Do you remember that man with the robots?
I do.
I have a sneaking suspicion he's involved, if not
It's-
directly.
Maybe, but it's too big of a coincidence that we fight a giant brain that James T knows that controls killer robots, and then James T is killed by robots. That is a huge piece of evidence to ignore.
Don't forget, we had Pam mess around with the reading those objects that were near James T's body, and it led to the guy with those robots that we left James T with.
Right. But
Not saying that's
right, I know.
crucial, but
And now I would just say, look, I'll go over the prophecy notes again, but that thing, from what we were told, supposedly has thousands of those robots. Hell, we ran into some really nasty ones, almost killed Alicia. That could count for a swarm.
Yes. Now, looks like whatever that man was, or is, or whatever it could be, I think he's directly behind it. Now, he's probably been biding his time. Now that most people are out of his way, he could have actually come up from the depths. I'm not entirely sure who he is, why he's doing this, why...
Wait, are you saying that you think he's taking over, or just a completely different factor than the big brain?
I think he has replaced the big brain.
Oh, well, that's just great.
Though I believe he might also have similar abilities to it. While the brain may be detached, fairly similar, whatever his reach may be, I don't think it was as far as where we were.
Similar abilities? You mean he has telemechanics?
I do believe that it's some sort of psionic ability that Jackie was under. And I do
Well-
believe that he was using Jackie as a camera to see what was going on.
Well, I know for a fact that's possible, Patrick, but it's incredibly rare.
I have gone through almost every single test possible. Inner workings, checks, any sort of tampering with it physically or electronically. I've seen if it was possessed. All of those check clean.
No, I'm not exactly what you'd call an expert, but I know someone who could probably do what you're saying. So it's certainly possible. Well, let's say it's him, but let's say it's not. Maybe it'd be best to leave Jackie deactivated for the time being. Either someone's able to take control of it, or...
There's something embedded. I have no idea what it could be.
And if that's the case, that means that if we want to be safe, we should assume everything from... Maybe I shouldn't get my Flying Titan replaced so quickly.
well, there's probably alternatives at Northern Gun. I mean, we're going
Probably.
to everything.
But I mean, think of it this way. The big brain, it treated us like it was our master, thought that we were inferior, that it ruled over us, right?
You know,
If it builds robots, and I mean, what lord master wouldn't want to know what its people are doing? Robots aren't exactly the best spies, but if you have a company that makes arms and advanced robotics that is out west somewhere that no one knows much about, and use them to spy for you, imagine if every piece of technology, every power armor, every little robotic robot was somehow feeding it information.
So I'm debating about its range. But I will say this. It seems like it's back to its old tricks. Whatever it may be, brain or not, this man or not, or some new thing in the same seat of power. I believe it's back up and active.
Yeah, I was fearing the same thing myself, but that was just a suspicion. This is...
I have something to back that up.
Well, no, I was saying that before I had suspicions, but this just fits too closely together to be coincidence. Maybe it's not the swarm, but what were you referring to that backs it up?
So, I don't remember exactly who. This is out of character, mind you. But there's a man who has told us about rhino-like creatures that were attacking people in this area. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. That's what the survivors of Elzone Prime encountered before. Something with a horn in the middle of its head, which could be a rhino. And that was near the ruins of, or not ruins, but near Liberty, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
And they fled from there.
That's true. And we have faced some giant rhinos before.
Mm-hmm. On our way to Greencastle in Flint.
This is so frustrating. I like Jackie. I wish there was a way to know if she... I don't suppose anyone has any plans of stopping by Chi-Town recently, do they?
Tom is going to give you a look like he wants to murder you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Never mind. Not really an option. Then yeah, let's leave her deactivated in here. In fact, let's move the remains of my flying titan in here as well.
Might be an idea. Or
Tomorrow
do
it's
you
a
think-
date.
Yeah.
Do you think we should put any kind of cyborgs, anything in here?
I'm not quite sure exactly how vast the power is or the reach or anything like that. I just don't trust Jackie.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I have to agree. Mila's going to be crushed.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what to tell her other than, like,
Let's just
Maybe-
not.
yeah.
I love Mila, and she'll be crushed, but she'll also be easily distracted. If she doesn't bring up Jackie, let's not bring it up either.
Yeah. Out of character. Cue next session, Mila bringing up Jackie.
Probably. Definitely not typing "bring up Jackie" to her right now in Skype. Actually, I'm not.
God damn it.
I'm not. I'm really not. That's ridiculous. Okay, sorry, but do you guys want to continue your conversation, your little scene there in the Golden Room, or?
I think that was a good stopping point, unless anyone else had something.
Okay.
Did anybody want to take any items out?
Yeah,
I'm
that's the whole reason we're here in this fucking shining place.
my thought was to get Jackie. Do we have a list of, like, I'm looking on our loot. I don't see Golden Room.
Phew. It's actually a lot of just my own personal items and things
Yeah.
like that. You will see a
Group-owned
camera.
items stashed in the golden place.
You'll see 2 cameras, one with a few knobs on the side, a necklace with a small, I cannot remember exactly what the description was way back a few years ago, or a year and some odd ago, but it is
Almost 2, yeah.
the minor levitation necklace.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a small amulet.
Mhm. Some optics band, a few books that have been stacked on top of each other. One of them being a signed copy of... 2 of them being the Aaron Tarn's book, one of them signed. The golden scale armor is in there. A shotgun with a row of shells beneath it, with a symbol turned towards you to notify that these are different types of magical ammo. Um, a Wilkes portable laser torch, laser wand, field identifier, 100 feet of long rope, dyes and preservatives, 5 red dyes, 4 gold, 3 clear liquids of preservatives. That's one's preservatives, the other ones are dyes.
Yeah.
A few MDC of inner armor, smelling salts, a slew of mushrooms that you would notify of what the flip these mushroom things were. I believe that one's actually
It's in
officially
the item
gone.
stashed in the golden place. We have 28 dream, 10 speed, 3 food, and 10 healing.
And then there's also Patrick's personal stash. He's
Yeah.
Okay.
um,
Can I say it now?
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need anything with this. My juicer rifle's been with me for a while, so.
I am going to nab the blue sphere and the flat metallic rod. Yeah.
blue sphere.
Oh, the little thing that creates the lights.
Ah,
Yeah. The glow lights.
And there's those two. Patrick will ask for some help with the golden armor, and he's going to actually unmount the shotgun and rope, and also take as many ammos as he can carry within for such
Okay.
shotgun.
Which is like all of them. You should be okay.
Do you want to take the golden scale armor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll help you with that if you need.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah. I think Al would
Okay.
take one more look at Jackie before he leaves, like worried.
She is deactivated. She just
Hmm.
lays there. She's sleeping.
All right.
Okie dokie. All right, you guys leave the golden room with your possessions reappearing in the Rhapsody.
Mhm.
So, Tom, now you have your camera.
Yes. I will look through the camera to see if there's a picture of old body Tom,
There is.
younger Tom. Okay.
There is.
All right, and now we get to have that little conversation with Blink.
Okay.
He is going to try and find her.
Mm-hmm.
Where? Maybe.
She'll be in the recreational room.
Okay. He will say, "Hey."
She's
can-
watching something with August, I guess. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, sure. Is it important?
Yeah.
You look worried.
Yeah, it's sort of important here. Let's go to my room.
Okay. She follows you.
Mhm.
Sit. She sits on the bed and kind of crosses her arms a little bit. And she looks at you and she goes, "Okay, what's up?"
So there's something that I kind of haven't told you yet.
Okay.
Something that I haven't really been avoiding. I've just I wasn't
She
thinking.
gives a bit of a smirk. You can just give me the whole Band-Aid approach. You know, just tear it off in one go.
Okay. I have a bit of a past with the Coalition. A large past.
Coalition,
Nice.
she says.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're somewhat familiar with them, Elzone Prime. Collection of governments, north of where we were and also west of where we were, but they didn't have much of a presence, at least in our place. But you know, black armor, skulls everywhere. Those guys?
Yeah, those guys.
Okay.
Kind of hateful of magic in all of its forms,
Okay.
hateful of anything non-human. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
um,
She
really,
gives a bit of a chuckle. All right.
really skittish about psionics as well. Um,
Listen, she says, if it's you were a member of the coalition, it's pretty clear that you have nothing wrong with non-humans. So if that's what you're worried about, don't. We've all had a past. It's fine.
Al's the one that used to be with the coalition.
Oh,
I
okay.
am currently the third most wanted by the coalition.
Kind of gives a bit of a surprised look. Okay.
Yes, and there's a reason for that. When I was 13, when it was my 13th birthday, um, I was going to the store with my mom, and these people in black armor and skulls started to go into homes, places of business, cars, everywhere, drag people out and start executing them. And they finally got around to both me and my mom. And I witnessed my mom being executed in front of me. At that point, something inside of me snapped. I was greeted by a very old man. Well, sort of old, middle-aged. As time seemed to stop. I know this sounds weird, but
No. She gives a she's listening with you, and while you're talking, especially when the part where your mother died a little bit, she looks very empathetic, very sad, but she doesn't want to interrupt you. The little was the old, well, not really old, middle aged, and so you see just a very, very small smirk come from her mouth. Continue.
and he offered me a chance to survive, which I took. He touched my forehead, and time, which while he was there seemed to stop, resumed, and the ley line nexus point seemed to erupt and explode. And I mean, we can go over the ruins a bit later, but all that's left of my hometown is a glass crater. And I'm the only one that survived. And that is when I got my psionic powers.
I see, she says. That's a pretty rough part about your past. I understand why you want to keep that, but I mean, I understand.
So
I'm sorry.
thank you. There's a bit more, and the big thing that I'm concerned about. The coalition decided to blame everybody's deaths, including the soldiers, on me, which is why I'm the most wanted. Not only because of, all of these innocents, but because I'm a psychic that somehow was able to make a nexus just explode. So I've been on the run ever since until I found Al, Patrick, and Mila. Few months go by, and we explore a ruin. We get a rod, and we meet Tyrath, who wants his staff back. So we agree, and he says, if you ever need me, we are now friends. We are now partners. So if you ever need me to do something for you, let me know, and then you'll do something for me. So a bit later on, the coalition, has been hounding us, following us, and it got to the point where we were desperate. And so Al and I came up with the idea of switching bodies.
Blink gives a very long succession of blinks, probably about 30 in total, and she says, "Wait. I must have misheard something. Did you just say you switched bodies with Al?"
No. We switched bodies with other people.
What do you mean switched bodies? And she looks genuinely confused.
Basically, our mind and our soul is transferred into another person's body. Somebody who was going to die. And with that, essentially, the Tom that the Coalition was after, quote unquote, died.
What happened to the body? What happened to does this other person have your old body now? I can't believe I'm saying this. I thought I saw, and I thought I heard about the craziest stuff on Mars. But this is just a whole other thing.
No. The person, this. I'm gonna have to get existential because I can't explain it otherwise. The soul that used to inhabit this pounds of flesh, this bag of flesh, is gone. I am the one that is inhabiting it now.
She brings her hands to her forehead and rests it there for a little bit. Okay, she says. You could almost hear the gears trying to process this.
Yes. It's the same situation that happened to the Baron. That's why we went to Mars, so that he could be transferred into a younger body.
So, it's not some sort of joke or ruse or the fact that that younger guy is the true Baron Dioxin.
No, that's really him.
His brain and this soul of his is inside that other body. And so you had another body, but that one's gone, and you're you. But the person that I met back
still me.
when we first met is still you. Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't been switching around bodies or anything like that?
No. That only happened a couple of years ago, and there's no switching after that. I'm here in this body permanently.
Okay. This changes things, but it doesn't change what's important.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're still the same person as that what I met, then I don't see much of a problem, although it's going to take me a little while to kind of just let all this settle in and absorb a little bit.
No problem. Dude, this might sound creepy, but do you want to see what I used to look like?
Sure, she says, I guess. I guess it'll give me a full sense of the picture.
Mm-hmm. He'll take out the camera and hand it over to her.
She takes it for a little... She looks at it for a moment. She blinks a succession of times, and then she says, "What, are you this guy in the foreground here? This gruff, tattooed fellow that's look with his eyes shut?"
No, I'm this one. And he points to the younger Tom.
Yeah, in the background there.
Yeah.
How old is this picture? She asks.
Ooh, I need to know out of character when that was taken.
Like a year and about 8 months ago.
Back in...
A year of 9 months ago, actually. Yeah, a year and 9 months.
a year and 9 months ago, around there.
There's a longer pause. How old are you in this picture?
About 16.
She looks up at you and she says, "Are you telling me that you're 17 years old?"
Yes. My birthday is in about 4 months.
She silently hands you back the picture.
Mhm.
We're gonna need a bit more time.
That's fine.
And she, unless anything is said or done differently, she'll stand up from the bed and she will leave the room that you guys are you guys are talking in.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next little while, at the very least, I'll give you updates from time to time. Of course, she makes polite conversation, right? She doesn't in the external way seems to be interacting with anyone differently, and she's polite and kind with you. But if there's any hint of if you ever try to broach the subject as far as what we talked about, or even starting any sort of form of intimacy between people, she asks you to give
Yeah.
her a significant amount of time still. So
That's fine. The only thing that
Okie
Tom
dokie.
will say is, "I promise that is everything. There's nothing else you need to. Or there's nothing else to tell him." That's the thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
She'll give just a little nod on that. Once again, no actual response.
And Tom will keep his distance. He won't do anything until she is ready.
Okay. Okie dokie. But like I said, I'll let you know narratively or another time right now. But especially this next little bit of the adventure, since you're on the Rhapsody, it no longer takes weeks and weeks and weeks in travel. It takes much less than that.
Yeah.
So this is not something that is going to be resolved in a few hours. We'll just say.
Oh yeah.
I do have a question. Would the other PCs or characters in the immediate, like after the conversation, notice anything amiss? Wild, haunted eyes, anything like that?
Sure, you would nothing, overt or anything like that. But you probably would notice in the next half day or so that Blink and Tom don't talk very much or are in the same room very often.
Got it. Okay.
So they got a bit of that vibe going on.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Well,
With that little bit of drama.
Yeah.
Out of character. Tom, you gonna ever tell her how you got that coat?
I was going to, but later. When she's angry.
And by the way,
Yeah, it's very likely going to be the same time that I give her a bunch of the silk robes. Because you can't get silk in space, from what I can remember.
No, there are no silkworms in space.
Yeah, so that's gonna be nice too.
Except ones that will eat you.
Space. But there might be silkworms on Mars, but you guys didn't scour it too far. But
I do not want to see. If I've seen beetles and ants on Mars, I don't want to see the goddamn silkworms.
what, you guys haven't seen the Mars tarantula?
Oh god, no! But seriously,
yeah, you joke, but
silkworms on Mars is essentially Dune.
Oh god, yeah, that's true. The spice must flow.
Oh god.
Control
All
the
right.
spice controls the universe. All right.
Okay,
Anyway.
I think for the time being, though,
All right. Let's continue on.
anyone to like.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Well, we had some great role play there. So let's deal with travel. So if I remember correctly, you guys want to be traveling 20 miles, about cruising speed, so just a little over Mach 1. You're going to avoid the coalition states, and you're making for Lacree, correct?
Correct.
And you're leaving in the morning, just after everyone is done eating and getting themselves fed, right?
Yes.
Okie dokie, artichokes. So let me give a broad description of this, and forgive me if I miss on any sort of pertinent detail. But the view from Earth, 20 miles up, is definitely a brand new perspective for all of you. Far off to the east, you can see the cool blue expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. And as you begin to punch in coordinates, and as Alicia and or Tom begin to thrust the Rhapsody forward into the atmosphere, high into the sky, the landscape below you passes by for those who wish to window watch, for lack of a better word. The rolling, green, rich Appalachian Mountains, still dotted with yellow and brown, sorry, not dotted, still, it's not fall Inferno, it's spring. Some love trees still budding, of course, but that rolls and rolls into thicker vegetation. You traverse over the very, very tip of the Appalachian Mountains themselves, which still have a little bit of snow clinging to their upper reaches. In between, vast tracts of vegetation being renewed with new seasonal life. You see small dotted communities, some larger than others, coastal towns, and more specifically, you cannot miss, even from up on high, from this viewpoint, soft light blue streaks of magical energy, ley lines some thicker and more colorful than others. You see farmland, you see cultivated land, you see herds of monstrous beetles going along open plains. You see for a moment, as you cross through what used to be Lake Erie, you see what you think it is, some sort of aquatic creature that is at least 8 times the size of your behemoth from being able to spot it from this high up. Even though, from your current vantage point, it's just a black speck upon the light blue water. You see the expanse of New Laszlo and the tons, well, not the tons, and the dotted ley lines that surround the area. You see old ruins of cities long untouched, filled with vegetation, as almost like weeds poking through the sidewalk. Just give me a moment. I get so lost in my description, I don't even bring you back to the map. And finally, you are informed, or in Tom's case, you come to realization that you are close to your destination. You're coming up through this direction, headed straight for Lacree. The question is, of course, is where and when do you want to land? Let me describe the terrain just a little bit more from you. So from your high up angle, there are unknown towns, little small specks of civilization on those dots right there that you can see. Those are either expanses of farmland which have been cleared out and can be identified from your areas, or you're able to see very slightly. You'll have to slow down at this point in order to get a really good long look at it. but they're probably small communities. You do see tiny clusters of homes, or what you assume are homes. Up along north of Lacree, along this line here, they begin to be the ocean meets rocky cliffs. In some cases, sheer, 100-foot drops right into the ocean. Very few coastlines actually smoothly go into the water itself. And for the most part, the rest of it is woodland. With the exception of this little area right here, right underneath these two little fingers, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. That looks more flooded, more marshy.
Neat. Well, guys, what we could do is we are coming up this direction. We could swing wide and drop us off right around here, if you guys want.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I don't
Patrick?
mind
Okay. Then that is what I will choose to do. Fly out around here
Mm-hmm.
and circle around to land around here.
Okay. Doing so adds just a little bit of time to your flight, but nothing so significantly that the Rhapsody can't handle, especially at this altitude. I also want to say that on the far reaches of your radar, you do get a few minor pings, but nothing that even comes close to visual range.
Okay.
You, when you get closer to that particular destination, you see a few options to land. The first is high up. There appears to be a plateau that is close to the coastline that appears to be completely and utterly uninhabited by anything. It's pretty high up. It's probably about, you estimate from this angle when you get a little bit closer, maybe it's about 75 feet up. So that's one option, small plateau. Another landing area is, of course, as you have been doing in the back east, is a thick crops of trees, a thick vegetation. Of course, you'll leave a footprint, but the local, not wildlife, the local horticulture will definitely hide you. You think, you hope. And the only other option that you can see is aquatic. In this little area here, I know you pointed like around here, but you're still about 20 miles high, so you can definitely see this. Yeah, and that little crook there, those waters might look friendly enough, and of course you know that this is a lake south of Lacree because you kind of flew past it. But yeah, your other options are aquatic, large rivers and not too deep coastlines.
You know that is definitely an option. What we could do is we could unload everybody on the plateau, and then either like myself or Alicia, probably myself, could, land it in the actual water. I get into the mystic power armor and just try and fly and meet you guys. What do you guys think?
Is the mystic power armor fully enclosed?
Yes.
Yeah, it also has breathe without air.
Oh,
perpetually.
Well, then, yeah, as long as you're not so deep that, well, I wouldn't know this out of character. So, sure.
Good, correcting yourself. Good. Okay, is that the plan, Stans?
I'm all for that. The only thing is that if the plateau is 75 feet up, I don't know if the behemoth is going to be able to make that in its current condition. We might want to set the behemoth not on the plateau.
Hmm. Sure. We're gonna wait for Burn to get back. His headset died.
So personally, my thought would be unload everyone right in front of that little crook, and then just fly a few hundred feet, and then submerge it.
Okay. That is feasible, it seems. Give me a moment here, guys. While Burn is getting things sorted out, I'm gonna use the washroom real quick.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
back.
and you're back now. Well, I'm still gonna use the washroom. Dang it.
Okay, go for it. What did I miss? Because
I was
heard
saying
as long as it wasn't deep enough, and then nothing.
I corrected myself because what I was about to say was not something anyone in character would know, or at least Al wouldn't. It was about pressure depth, because Al's not going to know what pressure depth means. No, I was going to say I'm not sure unloading everyone on the plateau is a good idea because that's a 75-foot drop. I'm not sure the behemoth can make in its current condition.
True.
So my thought was just unload everyone like on the beach or that area right before the little crook, and then fly out a few hundred feet and submerge it.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Everyone here?
Yeah, a couple of questions, I guess, for
Sure.
the group is do we want to take the behemoth? Was question number one.
To transport so many people, probably a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Actually,
kind of
you'll
have
have to.
I just want to
yeah.
make sure. And the other one is, do we want to leave the unconscious Baron on the ship?
We should probably strap him down.
Yeah, well, he
Back
should.
on the table he goes.
If I remember correctly, we were planning on strapping him down in Bear's room, so
Bear's room got a little wrecked up.
Yeah.
did. But is it no longer?
No. It's still operational. His desk is trashed, and most of his bedding's been torn up. But I mean, his bed is still a bed.
Actually, if we're dropping everyone off here, then there's no reason not to put him back in the. Well, no. I like keeping him in the room because we can seal the door.
Yeah.
You can seal the door in the medical wing too.
Yes, but then he has all my medical. Like I put James T in there once, and we saw what happened.
He smashed it.
Yeah, that's true.
I like
That's
my
true.
medical stuff, and I love Bear, but his desk is not as hard to replace.
Bear looks at you disapprovingly. All right. All right. More than fine. Let's just talk about this because narratively, right? We don't have to necessarily roleplay. But if that's what you guys want to do, I can say you can do it, no problem. You can secure the Baron using the same straps that were used in the surgery table, transferred over there. It takes a little bit of jimmying, but you guys, the group at the very least, has the skill set in order to do this properly, so you feel better. So you unload the behemoth, and everyone but pretty much Tom unloads just south of where you want to rest the Rhapsody. The behemoth is unloaded while everyone gets everything together. Tom, you're able to fly to that kind of marsh coastal land after taking a few probing landings on the water to make sure that, sure enough, the floor bed of the... Actually, I'd like you to give me a piloting check. Let's actually do a skill check here. Make it harder by 10, since this will be the first time you've ever landed in water.
Okay.
Tell me how much you succeed or fail by, sir.
Okay. So 132, and I succeed by 6
Okay.
with
Then-
advanced.
Okay. All right. That more goes into the line of I mean, advanced is advanced, right?
Yeah.
So, great. So yeah, you do a few tests to make sure that the waterbed is, first of all, not like hundreds of feet deep. You could, but it just makes things a little bit more recovery. And two, and most importantly, that it's stable and can sustain the weight of the Rhapsody. both seem to be. It seems to be the case both times. And after a few readings and making sure everything is fine on the ship, sure enough, environmental systems are functioning perfectly fine underwater. The engines themselves, too, although they tend to cause the water to boil as soon as they're turned off, no one hopefully will know. You get into your Mystic Power Armor, you disengage the airlock. In the airlock area, of course, is flooded with water, which will have to be drained out when the time comes, when you reach the surface, but it doesn't flood the Rhapsody, thankfully. And with that, you get to the surface, and it takes you about, flying at top speed, it takes about, I'll say about 40 minutes to find and to locate the rest of your companions, where you join up and you head to Lacree. Okay? It's still pretty early in the day. It's coming closer to noon at this point. And the journey to Lacree is relatively encounterless. It's pretty easy. Patrick, Patrick knows this area relatively well. Also, there are several characters who have land navigation at a very high percentage, so you're able to find a pretty direct route while avoiding any sort of clear signs of trouble. In fact, other than a den, well, not a den, I guess you could say a grouping of extremely startled beavers, while they were building their dam, as the behemoth comes unceremoniously kind of crashing through a thicket of trees that was completely unavoidable, you encounter no other wildlife, monstrous, demonic, or mundane. And sure enough, the large scrap heap, the majestic city of Lacree, is within view. Patrick, you know, of course, that vehicles, especially of this size, cannot be transported to Lee proper, but you do know a secure area along the south side of the hill where it can be stored, and you do know there are some discreet hidden defenses, mostly in the lines of refurbished laser and plasma cannons that are kind of camouflaged within the expanse of Lacree's scrap platform that will offer some protection to vehicles. In fact, you see a few other hover cycles and conventional motorcycles and an ATV or two kind of scattered along the south end of this hill. Oh, I guess you could say the scrap hill.
Al would say if Patrick's in the cockpit with him.
Yeah. You'll notice that he'll have a cord leading up to the back of his head, but he's generally attentive.
Got it. Al's familiar enough with the head jack to know what's going on. He used to have one. All right. He'd go, Patrick, you know, I didn't ever ask before, but where did all this stuff come from?
This?
And he kind of motions out to the big pile of junk that is surrounding and around Lacree, and motions out to all of that.
From the stories that I've heard, it used to be a pre-rift disposal spot for machinery. And then, or was it a large facility that crumbled? I can't remember which one. I think we're still trying to dig down to find out, actually.
But there's just so much.
Ah, yes. On top of that, there has been multiple layers of other debris and things like that clumped up to here. And also being found by Northern Gun, they kind of transported all of their junk and miscellaneous things that was also pre-rift, scraps and things, and dissolved bits and pieces of their own place, and they kind of dumped it here as well. It's kind of the layers and layers of, well, we call it treasure.
Al gives a low whistle and he says, "It may be old, but I've, thinking on it, never seen so much technology and resources in one place. How rich did the world have to be before the calamity to consider this a, a, a disposal? There's got to be more material here than, God, every suit of flying power armor the Coalition owns."
Well, it kind of keeps coming. See, we kind of have an agreement with Northern Gun to kind of take their excess materials that they don't want.
What do you get out of it?
The materials.
Ah, right. Wow. Al just kind of it stops talking and thinks to himself about what he just heard.
Okie dokie. Well, I was hoping to just continue to explain this narratively speaking. The big question, especially that Louis and Ivy Tai Feng, who speak for the bulk of the L-Zone Prime group, they ask if they should stay on the Behemoth or if they should come up with you. They're under the understanding that you're here to see if they can take, the city itself can sustain, or are interested in having some, well, for lack of a better word, refugees. And would it be best for you to speak as kind of their representatives? Or do you want everyone to haul up into the town all in one go?
Well, I think perhaps a compromise would be in order. Choose a few people to come with us in case they have any questions. But certainly showing up with all 20 some odd people might not be the best opening introduction.
Okay. With that suggestion, Louis and Ivy will come, as will Peyton and Tucker Vincent. Rhonda Goldstein, the woman, the strawberry blonde-haired woman that you saved from the clutches of Rena and her die-in, she's still a little beat up, but she wants to stay on the Behemoth to monitor the severely wounded individual who lost a partial of their hand. Just as a bit of a refresher, Louis and Ivy Tang Fai, of course, are the brother and sister scouts from L-Zone Prime. Peyton is the DB, the portly DB that you saved from some die-in trying to drag him off. He's known as his role in L-Zone Prime was pretty much chief in procuring supplies from other areas, so he fancies himself a good speaker. And of course, Tucker Vincent, the big fellow, big and fit fellow who backed you up with your railgun, which, by the way, has been returned to the Behemoth in its original position on top on the turret.
I'm impressed that man was just dragging that around.
He looks extremely strong.
Actually, speaking of the heavily injured lady, I have two questions. One,
Okay.
is she rousable, or is she still in a coma-like state?
She is still in a coma-like state. It hasn't been that long since you initially treated her. Maybe half a day. Maybe not even.
And then my other question would be kind of pertaining to my skill set. Because I've never tried this before, and I'm curious to how this works. When it comes to cybernetic surgery, i.e., if I were to do the procedure to give her cybernetics, is that something? Okay, my skill set says I can do this, but since I just got it, is it one of those things where if I'm in a controlled setting and have my time, I'm pretty sure I can do this, or is it like I could screw this up big time?
Big time, no. But as first as a trained kind of paramedic, and the more and more you learned about medicine, is that all surgeries are risky.
Mhm.
every single one. When you open up a person and start messing around with veins, veins, blood, arteries, things can go wrong. So your confidence is up to you to role play,
Got it.
honestly.
Okay.
We
Got
can
it.
say that you've never done it before, but you do know the fundamentals.
Okay. Then Al would probably talk to Rhonda. Is that her name?
Hmm.
Al would talk to her and say, he'd probably come up and say, "How is she?"
She's still out, but the pulse is weak, but the heartbeat's steady. She lost a lot of blood, but giving time, she should be able to, you know, make her own supply again. The
Um,
saline helps, as does everything else.
I'm curious. Obviously, not when she's still in so weak a state, but do you think you know her far better than I do? Do you think she would want a cybernetic replacement?
She sticks her lower lip out a little bit and shakes her head and gives a shrug, and she says, "I have no idea, to be honest."
All right. Well, we'll have to try and find a way to stay in contact. If she gets better and she wants one, um, obviously none of us are incredibly what we'd call full of resources. I have the skill to do it, and it would probably be the cheapest way. Um,
Gotcha. All right. Well, if we need that road, then we know someone who can perform it, the surgery.
just
Good.
let her know that it's an. I know a lot of people that's never an option, but for her, it will be.
Okay. All right.
And
Good.
yeah, all right then. Keep the fort down, and let me know if you need anything. And if you guys stay here, any supplies you need to take care of her, take them.
Yeah. Wait, before you go, answer me this. I know things might move pretty quickly if things go well in Lacree, so I don't know how many times we're going to have a chance to speak one-on-one, Rhonda says as she clears her throat a little bit. She looks to one side and asks, I'm not going to ask how you came back, but why did you come back?
You know that prophecy the Diane kept talking about?
Yeah, I got a front row seat to that.
Yeah. Well, we got it too. Different, of course, not less salvation of Diane and death of humans, and more just everyone being at risk. And it's hard to know anything for sure, but some old friends of ours might be in danger, and well, we don't like leaving our friends in danger.
See. Well, that explains a lot, she says. I'm gonna be honest with you for a moment here. We don't know each other very well. Just spent a few months before everyone took off, just in passing. But if the roles were reversed, I don't know if I would have taken that chance. To risk other lives for just a few, you know? It's like when you're medically trained, you learn this term that Simon Voss told us, um, triage, right? You treat what you can when you can. But you didn't leave us for dead. I have no other words but thank you.
Al will smile and he'll lean up against the wall with a shoulder and he'll say, "You know, I once met a woman named Erin Tarn. If you haven't heard of her, I'm sure you will someday.
Oh, why?
She she's pretty famous. A lot of people know of her, a lot of people hate her, but she's a very, from what I've seen, wise woman. I come from a society that is very, they're good people overall to their own, but they're very mistrustful and hateful towards the outside world. And I have obviously had a very unique perspective. I once asked that woman how I can change it. How do you convince people that barbarism and cold calculations and leaving others to die to save yourself isn't the best option? Her answer was simple: show them.
So that's what you were doing.
The world will never change if people don't show that others matter.
Hmm. At least a bit of that is true, she says.
I'm told that I am almost childlike in my optimism and naivety.
If that's what you want to call it, okay. All I know is that that's probably the reason why I'm still alive, so I'm not going to complain. I don't think she will either, as she looks over to the comatose woman, still recovering now in the Behemoth's medical wing.
Al nods and goes, and that's why I'm starting to not mind being called it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hold down the fort. We'll be back soon.
Okay. All right. So with that, you guys managed to walk your way back to the more southern. You're kind of on the south side, but the coastal southern part of Lacree, where once again once Patrick is able to uncover the lift, and as you raise and breach through security with the greeting, the individuals there, at the very least, recognize Patrick. And they do make a comment, actually, at this little halfway security checkpoint, like hanging halfway up this cliff of scrap. Be like, oh, you're just in time. There's some sort of traveling, I don't know what they were, just a small group of interesting people, but they says they have a show or something to show us or something like that. I radioed up and they said it was okay, so I think they're just setting up right now in the pavilion. If you want to check it out. So yeah, good timing. Welcome to Lacree. Hope you brought something good there, kinsman.
Al's gonna look at Tom and Patrick.
Is this the storytellers? Oh,
Al would
shit.
actually say that. Their name wouldn't by chance happen to be the Endless Storytellers, would it?
I didn't get a name, sorry. But well, they're definitely carrying something I've never seen before.
Oh?
Yeah, they kept it locked up in, I don't know, in the transportation in like some sort of box or something like that. Like they're protecting it for some reason.
Patrick would give general dimensions of a dragon head. And say if it's that
no,
big.
No, not that big. Not that
No.
big. Smaller, box-like. Oh, I know. Like a little bit bigger. You know, Patrick, you dug this out like, oh God, it must have been years ago now. But you were showing me a big case. It was what they used back in the Golden Age. We're thinking like even further than Golden Age, where they used to hold computer devices. What was it called? You called it a tower or something like that, right? Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, around the size of like one of them towers.
Huh.
Maybe a bit wider, but I don't know. That's the closest thing I got. They were too busy chatting themselves up.
Well, thanks for the information and thanks for the greeting.
Okay. And with that, he'll push his button. The turrets will swing away, and you'll once again rise. And you rise up to the very, very top of Lacree, and of course you gaze out across its hard pressed surface. A menagerie of recycled metals that kind of stamp into the ground and work as kind of walkways, for lack of a better word. You see the small outcroppings of homes, or at least doors, that stick out all throughout everywhere. And of course, far to your immediate left, you see at the pavilion a few of the large, almost gazebo-like or covered structures. And sure enough, you definitely see something going on there. A small crowd has gathered of local folks from Lacree. You quick eyeball estimates think maybe around 40 people or so, with about a dozen or so children. And you can see the very top of what looks like to be like maybe a black or dark blue van, and you definitely hear talking in the background. A male voice, a strong voice, calling people over.
We should investigate.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Okay. Do you choose to do so? Are you all in agreement?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Patrick, with actually kind of a rare sight for Patrick nowadays, a genuine small smile as he actually briskly and without really worry or waver goes towards it.
Okay. Wonderful. So you make your way towards the gathered crowd and begin to kind of poke your way through it, try to get, maybe a better vantage point. Of course, the other individuals with your party, the folk from Elzone Prime and Alicia, are coming with. And you can get into clear view now that there is what appears to be a large van that probably took up the bulk of the lift up to Lacree. And it is definitely a dark blue now. And on the side of it, hastily painted in red paint, is something called Culverhouse's Wonder. And you see a man. He's in a scraggy brown jacket. He looks to be about maybe in his early 40s. He has dark brown hair with just a little bit of gray starting to soak through his brunette strands. And off to his left is a woman. She looks maybe about 8 years younger than him, blonde, short hair down to just below her ears. Also kind of dressed in, well, it resembles like an old dancing ball ground dress, but it looks like it's seen better days, especially around the feet. There's a few tears and whatnot. But these clothes, although they look like they have been well worn, at the very least are clean. And off to the right, but on the far side of the van, is a gentleman who still seems to be completely encased in body armor from top to bottom, kind of just standing in guard by the van itself. As the man struts in front of the Lacree pavilion, gathering people over, you can start hearing the words that he says. He goes, "Come closer, 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 I promise you, fine people of..." Look, and he kind of leans over a little bit, and you can definitely see this woman kind of whisper to him, "Lacree, we have traveled far and wide, showing and displaying and sharing in the wonders and the special gift that we provide. Now, I promise you that this is no mere hawkery. What I offer to each and every single one of you is the opportunity of something genuine, something unbelievable." And as he's talking, he kind of snaps over to the armored guard by the van. He goes, "Bring it out." And the guy, who looks like he has done this about 1,000,000 times, kind of just gives a nod. He opens up the back of the van, and many of the people of Lacree are kind of stretching their necks, trying to see what he's bringing up. And at first, he seems to be bringing out just this old wooden barrel. And he sits it right in front of the barker of this man, this hawker. And he goes, Good. We're almost ready, folks. We're almost ready. And then soon, a large metal box is taken from the back of the van. And sure enough, the estimates of the security guard that you knew, Patrick, is about right. It's a little bit more square than a computer tower, less rectangular, but it's pretty big and it looks pretty heavy what this guy's covering. He sets it on there, and you can see on the top is two little latches on either side. That's kind of keeping the sides of the box together. And at this point, the little bit of chatter and the small talk and the murmur around the crowd starts to hush down very, very quietly, especially the look of this sleek, shiny metal box. Can I keep going, or do you guys want to do anything at this point?
Nah, I'd keep watching.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, cool. I just want to make sure. I want to give you guys a moment to do what you want, right? So, he goes. Are you prepared to have your lives changed? Within this box is the secret, is the opportunity, and the path to great fortune for any who is bold enough to partake for a very, very small fee. And with that, he has these sleek black gloves on, and as he's talking about great fortune and roads to riches, he's lifting each finger off the glove, very carefully taking off as he's a master conductor ready to begin the orchestra. With his right hand, he unlatches the left latch. With his right hand, he unlatches the right latch. And he lifts the box up. And sitting on this barrel is the biggest, fattest, and might I say, wartiest toad you have ever seen. It is about the size of a cat. Whoops. Give me a moment.
It really must be big if that's the scale you have to put out.
What?
I said it really must be big if that's the scale of the map you have to bring out.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a map. There he is. Layer, token layer. And it sits there, staring up at the dumbfounded crowd. And it simply gives a little rap. A laugh starts in the far left-hand corner of the crowd, and it begins to sprout in with titters. He goes, I know. Just a large, unfathomable creature. But this creature has unusual and once-in-a-lifetime properties. Upon its skin, it secretes a mystical chemical that gives individuals who lick it visions of the future, and every single person down to each and every iota of their bodies report and confirm that once they lick this toad, they are set for life. Wealth is found in front of them. It unlocks secrets of the mind. Do not ask me why. Do not ask me if it is magic. Do not ask me if it is science. All I know is that it works. So, for a mere 25 credits or equivalent in trade, we take food, leather goods, even weapons if necessary. Come a step up, press your lips and tongue against this calm, docile creature's flesh, and half your life changed. The laughs die down.
Al doesn't look that impressed.
Tom suddenly nudges Al.
I think I've had my life changed quite enough, thank you. He says to Tom.
Hey, you never know. There might be something about the prophecy. And when he says prophecy, he's gonna make, throw up his hands and wave them around.
Yes, because that's what we need. Another prophecy while high on some sort of psychedelic toad juice. Al kind of shrugs and goes, anyone else want to see this? I think I'm ready to go.
You hear? Oh, sorry. I hear Patrick about to say something. I'll let you take the initiative first, but the people of Lacree definitely have something to say about this too.
I know I haven't specifically said such things, but would it be okay, GM, if I was in my golden armor?
Sure.
All right.
Sure, I don't see any reason why not.
Mainly because he likes it and he would like it to be on.
Okay.
Patrick is deep in thought at this point.
Okay, great. Well, then let me feel free to stop me if you want. But like I said, I'm gonna have the reactions of the crowd if that's fine by you guys. The people of Lacree, Patrick know, are shrewd people. They know a few things about tall tales and deals and the worth of hardened credits. At least some of them do. And you hear a wispy, light voice belonging to a woman off to one side say, "And how do we know if it works? And the hawker, without any hesitation, goes, "It's an absolute guarantee. I understand if you fine folks are worried about encountering this creature," puts in a nasally voiced teen. "You want us to lick a friggin' frog!" And then there's another huge burst of laughter. And the hawker lets the laughter die down a little bit. He raises his hand and goes, I know. But this isn't something in a strange bottle or ointment or anything else. I know it seems strange, but the most wondrous things are the strangest. And if you are concerned that you will be harmed or my feelings are ungenuine, then please allow my fine assistants to demonstrate, to ensure that you yourself will not fall ill or be ripped off. In fact," he says, "I will make a bold proclamation here. The first encounter with this wondrous specimen," he points over to the toad. The toad looks unamused. The toad's slitted eyes are kind of looking around and slowly shutting as if it's about to go to sleep. "May do so for free. I will waive the 25 credit charge, just so you can get your fortune for free." Citizens of Lacree, they like a free deal. And then now, the laughter starts to turn around to muttering. And, I'm sorry, it sounds like you're really excited to say something. So
Patrick is actually going to stand up and go, "I will test this."
Excellent. There's a brave man. And you hear a couple voices ring out, "Hey, Patty, you're back. Yeah. Let Kinsman do it. Let that kid do it."
Al silently starts rummaging like back in his memory for how many detox he has on the behemoth.
Got a couple.
Yeah.
So, so you hear some applause from Lacree and of course the hawker. This who I guess you're assuming, since the name's right on the side of the van, Culverhouse.
Mhm.
He waves you on up and a few claps and little slaps on the back of your glistening golden armor. You saunter up. He goes, I think I heard your name. Kinsman, what's your name, young man?
Patrick.
Patrick. Well, Patrick, you're going to have your life changed. I hope you're ready for it. Whenever you're ready, and he'll like turn the barrel. The toad is completely asleep at this point, and he'll turn the barrel around so that not the rear end, but the back of the toad is faced towards you. Do not worry. He will not harm you. He will not start. He's very used to this. Whenever you're ready. And he'll gesture. And then he'll cross his arms, very pleased with himself.
Patrick will, with intent in his eyes and generally like he's going down to pet a cat, he's going to bend down and lick the toad.
Is the reply from the toad as your lips press its warty and cool skin. It's not horrible, but it's the strange sensation, and you feel a small, slightly bitter taste upon your tongue as you withdraw. You feel nothing. Nothing happens, and the hawker and his assistant and the guard all look at you expectantly. The entire town of Lacree are looking at you very expectantly.
Patrick
Hawker says, "Do you see anything?"
Besides normal vision, no.
Are you sure you pressed your tongue against, what's inside?
Yes.
There is just a complete and utter silence as for the first time this Culverhouse, this hawker, looks nervous. He looks to the blonde woman, looks to the other gentleman and says, well, and after a look of shock, he puts on a nervous smile and says, well, I guess there's a first time for everything, folks. This young man, and he looks like he's stumbling for something, and then his eyes land on your golden armor, has already found his fortune. Look at his gleaming armor. It is clear why it did not work. For those who already have great riches, what can one give you? Even more great riches? That's not how the world works. A small boo can be heard from the crowd. They are not buying this. They are not liking this at all.
Patrick is actually going to bend down to the toad and analyze it a little bit. He's going to assume that this is going. If this is surely something that is put on as a show, this is probably something that was going to have some sort of hallucinogen attached to it.
Possibly. Very possibly. So, what skill do you think would be pertinent of this? Or are you asking for me for suggestions? Because I can come up with some.
There's biology, and there's also wilderness survival.
We'll go with biology.
Alright.
Yeah, roll that. Make it harder, though, by 15. Then let me know how much you succeed or fail by. Oh my god.
58.
Great job. Great job. So you can see through the pores of this toad, sure enough, a small shimmering substance. You're quite certain. Now, of course, you need some confirmation by doing proper scientific measurements. But right now, going on previous biological knowledge, you do know of organisms, particularly creatures such as toads and frogs, who do emit some form of defense mechanism, a chemical defense mechanism that can cause hallucinations. And since that is clearly a toxin, you are quite certain that if you were to kiss this thing or to lick this toad, without your armor on, you probably would get some sort of effect. You do not know if it is positive, you do not know if it is negative, but you do know it is definitely chemically induced.
Patrick is going to, with an even
one
tone.
last-
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, one last thing. You also sense the perfect normal amount of PPP energy radiating from this toad, which equals 1. This is also probably not a magic toad.
Patrick was thinking about it, but that would be impolite to try to start scanning for things. He likes to know the wonder of things. He wants to believe. But he then goes, I see the problem. You've picked up a slightly toxic toad that gives hallucinogens as a defense.
Toxic? Fortune is not toxic, says the hawker, very nervously over the rising booze, trying desperately to control this situation. And I don't know what this hallow word you're talking about, but I assure you, we have taken this over dozens of towns, and each of them have found great rich. And then something is thrown. Something is thrown. It looks like it's probably just, well, everyone's kind of hoping it's just a bit of mucky mud. It is a wet and of a dark black-brown color. And it hits this fellow in the cheek. He goes, "People know." And the crowd begins to,
Oh God.
I'll just finish describing this. Oh, never mind. There's Squee. Squee dropped from the call. Well, before I continue this scene, let's just make sure our friend is still kicking around. Squee? Squee!
Yes.
Hey,
I
what's
don't know
up?
what happened. I went to unmute, and I went to type in that I was back, and it said disconnected. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay. All right. Anyways, sorry. Let me just continue here.
Yes, I'm here.
So, a slick of mud or muck or grime or oil or grease or something is thrown at this fellow. It hits him right in the cheek and goes, "Please, people, it's authentic, I swear." And then you hear calls such as, "Nobody cons people of Lacree," and "We got enough swindlers in town," and "I'll shove that toad somewhere and you'll never have a fortune." And quickly, very, very quickly, the crowd isn't getting violent, but they're getting very rude and incredibly embarrassed. The man in the armor quickly seals up the box and whisks the toad back into the van as these people are herded into the vehicle, and they begin to drive towards the raised platform to get them out of there. And a little bit more grok and mine and cat calls and jokes and tease and rude expressions come. A few people like teasingly push up against the van, and as it rolls out, this hawker gives Patrick the meanest stink eye a person could possibly give, combined with complete and utter confusion. But he is not happy about being run out of town, and that's exactly what's happening. These people are harassed quite giddily by the denizens of Lacree until they hit the platform, and they unceremoniously begin to lower. A few more toss of scrap metal is put onto the roof of the van, as eventually the crowd dissipates quite happily with getting rid of a con artist. A few people, of course, approach you, Patrick, saying, oh, good job, boy. I'm glad you were brave enough to show this man exactly what he was made of. Huh? 12 towns, fortune from kissing a frog. Now I thought I heard everything.
Well, keep your mind open.
Yeah. You know what they say, though? You keep a too big open mind, anything will fall right in, right? Including a giant frog. And the crowd eventually dissipates. And that was the magic toad.
So out of character, I assume Patrick proved this guy was a fraud.
Well, no, he kissed the frog and nothing happened. We don't know if he was a fraud or not.
Yeah, we don't know.
Oh.
I mean, that toxin could have actually, given you visions of the thing. Or
Also
visions
could have
of something
poisoned you.
else.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He could have done all
I
sorts
feel
of
kind
things.
of bad though.
Patrick's just too strong for him. Patrick, maybe Patrick is like anti, like he's just resistant so hard to psychic things and toxins.
It's it's kind of neat that Patrick has that sort of fortitude, but still kind of just like, I wonder if it's true.
Maybe it just didn't work for me.
So, now that you guys have entered Lacree and have the city before you, I figured I thought I'd throw in a little bit more information into Patrick's the knowledge part of his brain. Okay. So, the folks of Lacree, of course, are known for taking in not necessarily refugees, right, but people who require a new start. All right. And there is a bit of an informal process about this. Sure, there are certain families, certain members of the community who are much more charitable than others, but it's an interesting thing. The more individuals people help on their feet, the higher status they become. For example, the kinsmen themselves are well respected in the community, not for just their knowledge of what they do, but the fact that they sometimes open their doors to help a people or two. But the informal process of this is something. It requires, for lack of a better word, a small town meeting. Pretty much word comes out that people are looking for assistance, or in kind of Lacree terms, they're looking for patrons, right? And all the interested families, all the interested individuals gather together and they decide who's going to help this person out. All right? Mm-hmm. So you do know that the head speaker, or kind of the president of the person who organizes the patrons, is a woman called Ofuna Strongriver. She's the owner and operator of the Mirror Door, which is pretty much one of the major suppliers and outfitters of Lacree. In fact, is the only place that actually has an actual establishment as a shop. Most other people either sell things right out of their homes or on the backs of traders, right? But she has she has an actual outfitting shop. She is a dwarven woman, and she is kind of seen as one of the more richer and more affluent people. She has like one of the deepest homes, for lack of a better word. So, Patrick, you would know that if anyone is to get the ball rolling and helping these people, it would probably be Ofuna. Or Miss Strong River, as you knew her.
Was that the same lady who was getting chased by the other dwarven man?
Yes. The fine fellow. Well, let me double check here on names. Yeah, Jorgril Brewbraid, the dwarven ex-slave. Yeah, he was kind of chasing after her. He thought she had the most beautiful name, and he was very happy that there's a she dwarf in town.
Now there's 2 Squees.
Yeah, his internet's kind of going off and on, so he's getting this corrected. But he says, he'll be back. He'll join it when he can.
Right. Let's see. So, Patrick would definitely consult True River, right?
Strong River, but that's
Strong
okay.
River.
Yeah, close enough. Okay, so of course you do know where she is. She is located on the there we go, on the in the north quarter, the first stack, the one with the round mirrored door. So I'm assuming the party wants to kind of head that direction, meet with her.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right, great. Let's just quickly do a quick check. Squee, can you hear us, or are you still getting things sorted out? You're muted, but maybe you're not even here. Are we talking to anyone? We don't know.
It's pretty spoopy.
Although Squee is out of the roll 20, so I'm assuming maybe he's not back yet. Either way.
Maybe? Maybe we should have a quick bathroom break or something?
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break here. Give him a chance to get reacquainted and everything. Okay.
I'll go talk with the chat. Hey guys.
Okay.
Patrick here. So, I haven't actually just sat down and just like, hey guys, what you think about riffs? Isn't it a
Hey,
cool
guys.
world?
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, cool. Like we've been like these characters for a while, and but there's so many different aspects of this game. I've personally kept hearing of juicers, but I don't think in any of the games have we actually. There was one time we found like a juicer that like died because he like crashed his flying thing.
We shot
Well,
the
not
ankles
only
off
that-
the juicer.
Yeah,
There's also a couple of
John
juicers.
McKean,
Yeah,
the bodyguard. Yeah.
Oh
And
right,
Patton
yeah,
Bullettooth was a juicer.
right.
Yeah. That's why
Right.
he was able to auto dodge my freaking fiery expulsion thing. Oh
They
man.
didn't know how to dodge that grenade.
No.
Anywho.
I'm back. I think it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were
Good.
just taking a few minute break now, but now that everything, are we good to continue?
Yes.
Mhm.
I will actually head to the bathroom, but I can hear you, so go ahead.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, Squee, the bit that you missed was me just letting Patrick know that in order to assist refugees, there's kind of an informal patronage program with Lacree. And kind of the head of this program, or the head speaker or organizer for this, is a dwarven woman named Ofuna Strongriver. The same woman that the ex-slave that you brought into Lacree, Jorgril Brewbraid, he was kind of pining over her last time you
Mhm.
checked. So Patrick was just leading the group to her establishment, and that's where we'll begin. We'll resume the scene.
Neat.
So sure enough, you head towards the north quarter, and the first stack of scrap, you see this huge, beautiful mirrored door. It's almost like staring into a mirror. It's this beautiful silver sheen. Looks like it's been polished perfectly. In fact, speaking of polishing, you see a familiar squat dwarven figure who currently, with a gray rag, is giving that mirror door a good waxing over. He turns around, sensing a group approaching from behind, and sure enough, it is the dwarf Jorgril Brewbraid. and he gives a big smile. He looks a little bit healthier in color. He's still quite skinny for a dwarf due to his emaciated situation, but his face looks a lot flusher and healthier. And he looks around and goes, I thought you left already. Well, good to see familiar faces.
Yes, you look like you're doing much better.
Oh, yeah, much better. I'm still have big concerns. I didn't realize it was like this across the Crescent Sea, but, well, there's a fine she-dwarf in there, and I'm gonna make her mine if I have to polish this door every day of my life. Oh! Did you just get back into town, though?
Yes, we just got in a few minutes ago.
Have you seen your parents yet? And he looks over to Patrick.
No. Why?
Oh, well, I suppose it's best. This comes from me. The other feller that I came in with, that older fellow, kind of skittish, Silas, I think his name was. You remember him, eh?
Yes.
Well, there's no good way of saying this, so I'll say it like a true dwarf. They found him dead. He was washed up on the lakeside. The doctor here, strange-looking feller. Ain't come across anyone like that before. Anyway, his name is Reese. I figured that this guy died from Silas. He died from a great fall. They figure likely he jumped off the edge of one of the heaps here into the water, and that's what killed him. Doc figured he took his own life. Parents did what they could to help him, but he was, I don't know, kept to himself, you know.
Well, you're at least somewhat in the same boat as him, so you might understand. Maybe.
Well, I guess I'm still pretty confused over the whole situation, everything that happened and my place, but people here, fair, hardworking, they like to burrow deep into the ground, although the metals have already been refined here. Plus, he kind of gestures over the door. I got something to look forward to, eh? A challenge. Oh, have you ever courted a dwarf woman before?
Al
Patrick actually gets like kind of like really nervous.
Al says, not too sure many dwarves are fans of elves courting them.
Elf, think of the finest hunt you ever been on. The most ruthless quarry, the most vicious bear, the most clever fox.
Al gets visions of Nathan.
That is nothing compared to the heart of a strong, stubborn-minded dwarf woman. You must chip away at her like fine marble and hope that your work pays off. Oh, but when it does, the reward is sweeter than any gem. Oh, I love a good woman you could just grab your hands onto, he says as he gets back to the door and begins to polish it a little bit more vigorously this time.
Al starts banishing horrible, horrible thoughts from his mind.
Fair enough. Good.
I should.
Tom chuckles a bit. And then after he stops chuckling, he looks really sad.
So... oh, I made myself feel sad. Anyways, he's continuing to polish the door a little bit and kind of looks to you and He senses the awkward pause, and he says, "Oh, oh, I suppose you came here for a reason and not just to listen to me. Are you here to see Ofuna?"
Yes, yes.
Are Patrick's parents okay?
Oh, from what I could see, discouraged a little bit, I suppose, but strong, fine folks. I see them time and again. They don't seem out of sorts.
Okay.
Patrick will put a hand on Al's shoulder and says, yeah, speaking of, you guys got this?
I was just about to say, go say hello. We'll be along shortly.
He'll give a shallow nod and
Al
step
will
away.
squeeze his shoulder. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll divide the scenes up a little bit if that works for you guys. Piph, is it all right if we resolve the stuff with the conversation with Ofuna first, and then go with you and talking with your folks? Is that all right?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So as Patrick goes back to his home, his old home, I mean his parents' home.
Mhm.
Brewbraid thumbs a squat thumb over to the door. He says, "Do you want to? Can I get her for you, or do you want to? Do you want to speak with her in private?"
No, I mean, there's no reason why we have to speak to her in private. It's just we have some friends that are looking for a fresh start.
Aye. Oh, okay. Sure. One moment. And that same squat thumb presses a black button-like, button on the door, and you hear a small ringing chime. A few minutes later, the door opens, and you come face to face with Ofuna Strongriver. She is, well, of course, a dwarf, or a little bit. Interestingly enough, she's just a hair taller than Jorgril Brewbraid. She has a deep, deep, deep red hair. Not like the corky orange of a redhead, right? But the really, really deep red of color. Oh my god, Inferno, really. And they're in kind of a small of a braid that kind of goes around the crown of her head. And she has small, tiny spotted freckles on her nose and on her cheeks, full lips, a small, squat nose, and piercing green eyes. As she looks through the door and she sees Jorgril just grinning like the Cheshire cat. She takes a look at him, gives a smirk, and looks at the door for a moment before she notices you, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was just Jorgril. But, how can I help you?"
I was gonna say too, while he was opening the door and all that, to not leave. I'm sorry. Who's with us again from the Elzone Prime crew?
Oh, of course, you have Louis and Ivy Taifang. You have Peyton, and you have Tucker.
Okay, he would kind of lean back to them so that they're not left in the dark, and he would just briefly say,
Sure.
"The gentleman they're talking about was, we saved him from. Well, he was going to be a Splagor slave, and yeah."
Okay. Ivy, Louis and Ivy give a small curse in a foreign language that you don't understand, and the expressions on their faces seem like they know exactly whom you're talking about. As far as Peyton and Tucker, though, goes, they kind of just give, even nods. Peyton looks a little bit lost, though he it's clear that the word Splagorth doesn't really mean anything to him.
Got it. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, if I heard that someone just committed suicide, I'd be lost in maybe a little direction. But that's all he's going to mention, just quickly in the time he had.
Okay.
Then he would say, may we come in?
Well, it depends. What's your business?
Well, we have some friends that we knew from over east, and they ran into some problems with their home. It's currently unlivable, and they pretty much need a place to start fresh, a place to start anew. And they've got some skills and some talents, and we were told that you would be the person we talked to about seeing if this would possibly be a place they could find a new start, or at least take the first steps on that path.
Ah, she says, and her face softens a little bit. You have to apologize. I heard that there were some people in town trying to sell some sort of strange hullabaloo, and I thought you were them, considering I'm one of the largest merchants here in town. But I see this is completely different. Yes.
I believe Patrick has already sent that one packing.
Oh, Patrick. Patrick Kinsman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know Patrick Kinsman.
He's a very good friend.
Oh.
Yeah, he travels with us.
Oh, I see. Wow.
And
Well,
you know
that's-
him, he can smell a con man a mile away, so...
Oh, I didn't know that about him, actually, but that's good to know. It shows, the Kinsman's smart people.
Mhm.
Well, yes. Come on in as we sort everything out. Who are your friends, and their brief introductions, of course, and she introduces herself, and she lets you in past the big purpose-polished door, and
He got a little too emphatic with that polish.
exactly.
He's polishing so hard. He's not only polishing his door, but himself as well.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him. But as she goes through, a Jorgirl goes, "Can I come in?" And she goes, "No, you stay out there for a little while longer." He goes, "Okay."
I will give him a sympathetic shrug.
He doesn't seem to be too bothered by this. As the door closes, you hear the soft rubbing of cloth on metal. But she lets you in, and it's a very, very well lit abode that she has. And in fact, the very first floor is very reminiscent of a conventional general goods shop. Shelves, displays, everything's organized nice and neat and pristine. And although the walls themselves are made of recycled scrapped metal, everything seems very orderly. And there's even a small counter in which payment is made. But she takes you 2 more levels down. Appears this little storefront actually has several levels to it. But down into what appears to be some sort of meeting area. There's a huge oval metal table, well crafted, with small inlets and overlays on the actual legs of the table itself, and a beautiful design of what looks like to be a growing flower etched into the surface of the table. And there are more than enough chairs and seats for everyone to gather around. She sits down, and she says, "Well, assisting people is one of the things Lecree does. We get a lot of individuals, especially from come down south. Would any of these people happen to be dog men, dog women, canine mutants?"
Oh, dog boys.
The answer. Yeah, dog
no.
boys, yes.
No, none of
Oh.
them.
Oh, I see. All right. Interesting. Well,
Al looks
how
uncomfortable.
many? How many people are there?
He looked to Lee. Do you have an exact count?
Lee.
I'm sorry, not Lee. The brother.
He's not here.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's there.
Louis.
Louis, sorry. I was
Louis.
almost there.
He's-
It looked to Louis.
And Louis responds, 20. There's 23 of us. She goes, oh, well, that's quite the number. Not the biggest we've ever seen, but definitely the biggest in, well, at least the past 5 years.
Well, I can assure you that they're not slackers in any way. Every single one of them was where they were because they were skilled in a profession. So they can at least hold their own weight.
What kind of
Yeah,
professions?
we have botanists. I think there's a medic.
Some
and
real
he'll
good
look
security.
Over to he'll look over to the Taifangs for them to, pitch in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they of course, and they'll pitch in too. They'll explain there are some engineers, wilderness scouts, a merchant, and then you guys got the rest, the medic, the botanists, everything like that. She kind of gives, she crosses her arms a little bit. She says, "Sounds like most of them are educated." And Peyton gives a strong nod. She goes, "Well, that's definitely different. No word of a lie. The Creek could definitely use, smarter bunch as long as they're well behaved. The only current problem is space. Of our patronage community, there's only about a dozen or so homes that are equipped right now to take in, for lack of a better word, people to assist temporarily, a place for them to rest their heads and fill their bellies as they get their legs straight. And with only a dozen or so open rooms, as long as I call our patronage meeting and everyone is available and interested, that does leave another, 10, 11, half a dozen or so. Sorry, 10, 11, a dozen or so lives to worry about. I suppose they could be put out in border houses and perhaps one of our inns. Perhaps the Shoreline Hotel. It's kind of slow for them right now. I'm sure they could spare a week or two.
We don't have enormous amounts of credits, but we do have some resources we could offer in trade if that helps.
Yes, it would. The patrons do things out of the goodness of their own heart, of course, and social standing and doing the proper Lacree thing. But the Shoreline Hotel is, you understand, a business. And money does have to enter their pockets. What were you thinking of to offer in trade?
Well, I guess a better question
Mhm.
would be, what does Lacree need?
Lacree needs a whole lot of things, young elf. But we could never say no to anything that might bolster our security, nor anything that would help us in dealing with folks from Ipshming. If you happen to have any sort of high technology or, anything from the Golden Age that we could sell to them, that could be a cornucopia in and of itself.
Al will look at Tom.
Tom will look wide-eyed at Al. And he will ask, "Is it okay if I talk to my friend in private just for a little bit?"
Of course, sure. I'll step into the room and count the inventory on my shop. You just give me a holler when you're ready. Just stay on this floor, please, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay.
She says, of course, trade credits work just fine. We take NGMI credits and universal credits. even black market stuff, but don't let that spread around too long either. I'll let you talk. And with that, she leaves the room and leaves it to you and the representatives of Elzone Prime.
Mhm.
Oh, tell you
So-
what.
Hmm?
How about sorry. I'll let you guys chat right now and figure
Mhm.
that out.
Yeah.
But before Afuna comes back, I'm going to switch over to Patrick because he's been
Yeah, that
very
sounds-
patiently waiting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good
Sounds
idea.
perfect.
But I
Why
don't
don't we
interrupt. You were just
actually-
about to say something to him, though. So
Why don't we just do the Patrick thing and then we can figure it out after?
Yeah, and it'll give
Okay.
us time to go
All
over
right.
what we have and yeah.
sure. Yeah. Okay, great. So, Patrick, you're able to you come home and both your parents are there. You are greeted warmly, of course, with a little bit of surprise. They didn't realize you were going to be back so soon after you whisked away so wondrously. And they bring you in. They prepare something for you to eat, and they get to talking. They ask you, what is new, what has happened in the past. It's been just under a week since they've seen you last. Absolutely overjoyed, by the way. And it doesn't look like they're broaching the subject of what happened to Silas just yet, because they want to know what you've been up to. But if you want to role play that conversation, that's fine.
Mhm.
But if you want to just talk about it narratively and get to a few questions that you might have for your parents, we can do that as well.
Um, Patrick will most likely note by note go over what happened, that we transferred over there, a few things went sour and so on and so forth, and we have captured the Baron, and he's going to note one thing that he's not going to say. He said a lot of things to his parents, and one of the few things he's not going to is the moment where he was debating on killing the man.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll keep that secret to himself. At the sounds of what happened with Baron Dioxin, they know that he's asleep in a coma and everything like that.
Mhm.
Your father Victor and your mother Holly kind of look at each other, and your father furrows his brow just a little bit, and he says, "Just a weekend. Sounds like you're in a difficult situation. This fellow does not seem like a very good person at all."
He has, assumingly got into his position through ill-gotten means.
Your mom nods and she says, "What do you plan on doing when he wakes up?"
We were hoping to drop him off in the community, and hopefully that he can live out his life. As
They give-
in a new environment, something we I felt like I had to do something about the situation, and without resorting to something that I would regret later.
Your mom looks you square in the eyes. She knows exactly what you mean. And she says, "I'm happy that you're deciding to take a less extreme path, although everything has its risks. If he's left, this is a strange and dangerous world, and I'm sure it is even stranger and more dangerous than what's floating around our orbit." Your father kind of continues. As long as he's far away from you, my son, then I'm glad that's the end of it.
I hope so. With new situations, it could be could go down a lot of different paths.
Mm-hmm. Speak after a moment of silence, a bit of a pause there, unless you want to continue talking. Your father says, speaking of unfortunate situations, that fellow that you brought in with the dwarf, um, things went poorly with him, I'm afraid.
I actually came over because I was actually checking up on you. I heard the situation from Brewbill.
Mm-hmm. Your mom kind of rubs her hands a little idly. She does that when I wouldn't say it's a nervous tick of hers, but more of an anxious tick of hers. She rubs her thumbs together on the top of her hands. And she says, the every night that he stayed with us, he had awful trouble sleeping. Your father and I heard sobbing, crying, shouts while he was asleep, perhaps nightmares or something else. In the mornings, we would, as best as we could, broach the subject, ask if everything was fine, and he would just shut right up. He wouldn't say anything. He was very polite, but very reserved. He kept everything to himself. After a few nights, we talked to Dr. Reese, hoping that maybe there was something, to help him. Some substance to help him sleep, some pills or an injection, something to calm this poor man down. From what you said, you took him out of a very scary situation, a very dire situation. He was a slave with some sort of parasite on him, wasn't he?
Yes, something that seemed to feed off of thought, I believe.
That might explain it then, your father says as he crosses his arms and leans back in his chair slightly. Because we did get some help, some pills, Dr. Reese said would sedate him a little bit, help him sleep, help him relax. And when we offered them to Silas, it was like a flip was switched. No more was the passive, pensive man. He got extremely upset. He started screaming that we couldn't make him eat it, that we couldn't put that inside of him. And after that, we backed off. We didn't mention it. We thought time would pass. We would be patient. He's been through a lot. And in the days, like I said, very polite. But he went missing 2 days ago. No, sorry, he went missing 3 days ago. And, well, they found him in the riverbed, and the doctor thinks he took his own life. He was a haunted man, and we feel bad that we didn't see it or we couldn't help him, but he was a very troubled young man. Oh, sorry, not a young man. He was a very troubled man.
I am sorry that I invited this experience on you.
Don't be sorry, son. And your mother says, and she brings a hand out to squeeze your own. Another hand comes out to press against your cheek. My boy, never be sorry for trying to do something good for someone. You gave him a chance. What was his life going to be like? Even if it was for a few days, it was better than still having that thing on him, being enslaved by cruel creatures. And then your father says, and there's Brewbraid. He's speaks queerly, he's rude, and he's strong languaged, but he's doing fine. If you didn't do what you did, he wouldn't be here right now, chasing after Storm River.
He seems to be doing quite well, and I'm glad that you two are also okay.
Yes, it's a little shaking when realizing something like that, but all we could do is offer a safe place and let everything else take its course. Everything that, when you dig down, you don't find gold every time. Sometimes it's not treasure, sometimes it's, well, sometimes it doesn't pan out.
Speaking of, I should probably say why I'm here, in town again. The people that we've rescued, they're here with us, and they're looking to have a place as a stopgap to pick their lives back up, as you well know.
Oh. Well, we should get together with Ofuna Stormer over there, speaking of the woman herself. Maybe she'll get a meeting together today or tomorrow. We'll band together. We'll do our best. That's what we do here in McCree. Well, one of the things we try to do.
Yes. My friends are speaking with her now.
Oh.
And we have 4 of the I wouldn't say the most colorful people. There's a man who carried around a huge turd just with his hands.
Oh. Well, is this okay? Do you want to keep this conversation going there, Piffy, or are you
I'm
good
good
for now?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So back to Ofuna's estate, while she has left to let Al and Tom and the rest of the L Zone Prime representatives.
Okay,
To
we've been
speak.
going over it in Skype, and I think we've
Uh-huh.
come to the conclusion that we're going to sell them August's kidney, but we'll need some ice.
And you'll need an August. He
We're
is
like-
on screaming.
We're like,
Hey,
we could just
hey,
sell them August.
Hey, August, does this rag smell like chloroform to you?
No, actually, what we came up with is the, and of course we would have to run this by Patrick and Mila and everyone, but we do have, was it 32,000 credits?
Mm-hmm.
39,000.
39,000 credits, and the thing is, from a business standpoint, we do have such high technology, but we have no idea what it's worth, and we have no idea if we'd be overpaying or underpaying, but we know the value of credits, so start with that, see if 39,000 credits would be considered enough to house these people for a while, and then go from there.
Sure. Give me 2 seconds.
And if not, we
So-
start looking for August.
So no. We'll just narratively talk about this if it's okay by you. Brewberry would come back, and she would explain that the estimated cost as far as raw credits would go, is that the shoreside. Give me a moment here. I just want to make sure I get the name right. Yeah, the Shoreline Hotel charges pretty much 50 credits a room per night. And so if each person were to get to their own room for a period of 2 weeks, she's quite certain 2 weeks would be more than enough time for people to get established, at the very least, to make that much a day to pay for themselves, or gravitate towards other homes or boarding homes or whatnot. But together, that's only about 8,400 credits. that of course she can maybe use her influence a little bit to lower that price, kind of insist on a bit of a discount. So she's looking at, if she's looking at 4 hard credits, she'll say 7,500. But she does remember that you said you don't have a lot of credits, so that's understandable.
Well, we don't have a lot of credits compared to what we used to have.
Yeah, we're poor rich kids that think 39,000 credits is not a
It's
lot.
not that much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
freaking.
could give me $39,000 and I'd be like, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'll take $39,000. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't
So-
need to do shit for the next year.
As a group, so here's my thought. I like the idea of the 7,000 credits, and then maybe a few hundred credits to each of them to help them get on their feet. Was that be something the group's okay with? Because like if I think about it like this way,
Piph, and then you're good.
yeah, exactly.
Or-
Well, and Tom and or Burn and Piph. Like my idea is like room and board, and then give them like $200 to get some sundries, maybe some clothes, things like that.
So that was how much you're considering again?
So
200
if
credits
he
per
wants about 200 credits per person, there's 23 people. That's 4,600. Added to the 7,500, we're looking at 12,100 credits.
Yeah, 12,100 credits. I could go for that.
Pifferino?
I'm good with that.
No, right.
All right.
I'm not for the first time. I'm not gonna go. Yeah, let's just give them 13.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I could pull it out and be like, no, not 7,000, 12,000.
So
Eh.
I mean, I'm really loving the role play going on this session, but if you like, we can speed things on maybe just
Sure.
a wee bit, a little bit, and just
Yeah.
talk in more narrative sense right now.
I am all for that.
So you pay the credits to Ofuna, who's very surprised. She thought you said you didn't have a whole lot, but apparently you did have this, and she's very grateful. She's able to mediate with the hotel, and in the next day she's able to call a meeting, and between the hotel and the patrons, sure enough, there are actually 14 families that come out to assist. Apparently, word has gotten around that a lot of these people are educated and well behaved. Perhaps, I don't want to speak for your character, but Patrick, I ask you, would you speak well of these people? Would you,
Yes.
Yeah, you would?
Yes.
And so because of that, word has actually gotten around that these aren't completely unknown people, and they're pretty well educated, and some of them are pretty handy. So a few more doors open, for lack of a better word. A few more spaces are found for these folks. So that implies that you guys would need to stay in Lacree or around Lacree for at least a day. Is that okay by you guys?
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think Al would ask, like, maybe could we have dinner with Patrick's parents or something like
Of
that?
course. Of course. As long as it's not the entire L Zone crew.
No, I
It's
mean like
just-
just the group. Yeah.
Just the group, and maybe Alicia and Blink perhaps come on by.
Oh, they're the group.
Yeah.
they're the group.
Sure. Yeah, they do. So you'll have dinner with your parents, catch up, tell a few stories and whatnot. And there's a few things that I might want to touch base with you guys as well. Kind of give you some opportunities here. All right. The first happens at any time. The other time would probably happen later on that night. Okay. So actually, there's 3 things that would happen. So let's just deal with the general meta question that I have here. Okay. So obviously, because actually, we'll say this conversation happens over dinner. That'll be nice and easy. You probably mention your adventures, and of course, would it be fair at some point the shape of the behemoth would come up, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a friend of the kinsman, a fellow named Dale Lennox, and he and his 3 sons and his 2 daughters, his wife has unfortunately passed on years ago, but they are very good friends, and they're very good mechanics, for lack of a better word, and they can do repairs at a friends and family discount. And they also accept pretty much any form of credits and trade, of course. And to let you know, now I've wrote down this note, and you guys can decide later on, or you can get your repairs done over at, like, say, Ipshaming or something like that, or repair them yourself, I suppose. But the friends and family discount is for if you have armor, like body armor, it's about 600 credits for 1 MDC. Robots and man-size robots and power armor. Wait, yeah, power armor and man-sized robots costs about 750 credits for 1 MDC being paired, and robot vehicles is about 3,500 per 1 MDC repaired. In addition, this fellow can order you, this Dale Lennox, can order you a new sensor suite from Ipshaming and install it for next to nothing. But that is not cheap. Normally costs 1,000,000 credits, but he can probably get it supplied and installed for 900,000 credits.
Aha!
Yep. So, in essence, the behemoth can be repaired, but it probably will be pretty costly. Like I said, you can always wait, of course, till you get to Ipshaming, right? Obviously, you guys will probably need to raise funds as well, but I guess the purpose of this was to let you know that you know someone in Lucree who can do the repairs for you.
Okay.
Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Then then there's two other kind of happenstances. One probably happened much earlier in the day, actually, between your meeting with Miss Storm River, and your dinner with parents. And I just thought it'd be a fun little aside. So the as you're walking along, probably as a bit of a group, right? You are probably about a half dozen young children, ranging from the ages of 6 to 10, start running towards you. And their leader, a gap-toothed little tyke, says, "Oh, visitors, look to Lucree. We're gonna sing you the Lucree." And then the little girl kind of tugs him on the arm. She goes, "Wait, Zachi, wait." He goes, "What? I was right in the middle of introducing us." She goes, "I know." But her stark blue eyes look over to Patrick and to Al and to Tom and to the rest of the gang specifically. She goes, "I think we did these ones already." And they're like, you know how kids whisper and they don't really know the how loud they're whispering. It's like a stage whisper.
Right.
And the kid waves about goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "The man with the hat." And she points over to Patrick. "He gave us things." He goes, "Are you sure?" "Yes." They all like look over to you with big eyes.
Hi.
Bye. They all run away. I forgot about the kids. I forgot about your Welcome to Lucree song, guys. So I had to make up for it. I got so excited about Brew Raid, I forgot to throw that in. So, one other thing then, I just thought I'd put in the opportunity, because this is something that you'd of course know about the town, Patrick. But after the dinner, Alicia, her and this Tucker fellow, they've heard tell the locals talk about a place called Bits and Pieces. And Patrick, you know what Bits and Pieces are. It's a gambling hall, and it's a public house. It's a place where people play a game called Dig Deep, and they bet on money for it. And it's a good place to get a drink too. And since Tucker invited Alicia along, she thought it would be, only fair to invite you guys along too.
Patrick will relay the information to them, to the rest of the party. Patrick will say, the last time I went drinking was a bit rambunctious. But I wouldn't mind if you guys wanted to get a drink.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either. Does Blink have a response to that?
Does Blink want to go with her 17-year-old boyfriend?
No.
They're on a break.
No,
No,
I was
I
wondering
don't know.
if
I don't want to
she would
telegraph.
react to, oh yeah, I want
Yeah.
a drink. You're 17. What the hell?
No. I'm thinking. I gotta put my brain in Blink's brain.
Well, also you got to think, like, I mean, do they have drinking ages anymore? I mean,
No, they don't.
Yeah.
It's the post-apocalypse. They don't have really much anymore. You know what I mean?
mm.
Let me think. Yes, drink. Drink would be good. She says. She's in.
Is it fair to say that this is like while we're at Patrick's house with his parents?
Sure. Yeah, or either you're gathering outside and talking about this, or inside, whatever.
Al would say, no, I think I'm good. I think I'd like to stay here and just relax. But you guys have fun.
Okay then. So Tom, Patrick, Alicia, Blink, and Tucker are gonna head on over. So your little gang gets together. Am I good to narrate some of this? Works for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sure enough, Patrick, since you know the actual way to Bits and Pieces, you go there. It's on the south side, the south quarter. It's the fourth stack, of course, and it has a huge square door. And on the front of it, it seems made completely of sheet metal with rivets on either side. And right in the middle is a lowercase b, and right next to it is a lowercase p. And already inside, even through the sheet metal door, coming up from below, you can hear the sounds of uproarious laughter and carousing, and more than a few bits of strong language, of course. And there's doors open. You come on in. You descend the stairway, and you come across on the far side of this very large room, very, very long room. It's not very wide. It's only about 15 feet wide, but it is long. It goes a good 60 feet across, right? And on the entire length of one side is a not beautiful, but a strongly built kind of metal bar top. And on the back is just a ream of glass bottles of every single color, greens and reds and oranges and yellows. It's dyed glass, right? And inside is untold amounts of beverages in there. And accompanying the rest of the room are these special circular tables, like perfect circles, with chairs on either side. So 4 chairs on either side of the table. And on the table themselves are what appears to be sets of wooden dice. And in front of each chair is a collection of 3 wooden dice apiece. And Patrick, you know that in order to partake in the gambling hall, of course, if you want to just drink, you head up to the bar, get yourself a drink, and they take credits or trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone is interested in playing a game, there is you have to purchase what they call bits, which are small rectangular tin strips with a lowercase b etched into one side. Well, maybe it's a b, but if you turn it around, I guess it's a lowercase p as well, right? but that's what's used in gambling, and 1 bit is worth the equivalent of 10 credits. And you know the owner and operator, her name's Sophie Clay, but she doesn't seem to be in right now. What instead is behind the bar, and the person who's in charge of keeping it, selling the bits and pouring the drinks, is a fellow named Trace Dodgier, and he is a half elf, for lack of a better word. Very human features, but he's got the little pointy ears as well. So there are a good 20 other people in this establishment as well. There is some music playing out of a small speaker located in the center ceiling of the room, and it's playing very, very synth heavy music, big synthesizer style of music, and it's playing at a dull roar, for lack of a word. You hear a big roar in one corner. It seems like someone, a middle-aged woman, has won a huge jackpot, because she's just shoveling a ton of these metal squares back to her side of the table, and the other 3 people that she's playing with look pretty displeased. Tucker and Alicia take a moment to look around, and they themselves mosey on up to the bar. They begin engaging in some small talk, order a drink, that sort of thing. But what do you guys want to do?
Patrick is here strictly for company. He's not interested in
Gambling
or the drinkings.
or the drinkies. Okay, fair enough.
What a coincidence. Tom is not interested in the gamblings, but he is interested in a couple of drinks.
Okie dokie.
So Tom will head over to the bar.
Okay.
And wait for the barkeep to acknowledge him.
Great. Yeah. No, he'll see you. He's right now just serving, Alicia and Tucker. Blank is kind of wandering, kind of just casually taking a look at the game, kind of seeing how it's learned right now. But give me just one moment, and the bartender will arrive soon with a drink list.
Yeah, no worries.
Just give me a mo. 'Cause somebody... There it is.
Prepared, yes.
Yes, I just need to get to the right area. The right area. What? Sorry, give me a moment. Okay. Bartender comes on over. He says, "Welcome to Bits and Pieces there, sir. You look like a new face. Can I get you something to drink? Or would you like to buy some bits off of me?"
What do you have to drink?
Oh, well, he kind of looks over to the menagerie of the glasses. Well, it depends on what you like. Are you more of a beer, stout, cider fellow? Do you want some perry, or are you looking for something a little bit harder, some spirits?
Do you happen to have any kind of mead or cider?
Do we got mead and cider? Yes, sir. We got 2 types of cider and 3 types of mead.
What kind of cider do you have?
Oh, the cider, one of them is, I guess you could say, locally brewed here, as best as you can say it.
Mhm.
It's nice. It's pretty, what can I say? It's a little bit easy on the taste buds. It goes down pretty smooth. The other type we get imported from Parents Post. It has a hint of blueberries to it.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll take the one from the post.
Oh, okay. Post cider. All right.
Mhm.
Well, they don't make it; they just import it.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, I'll get it up. Of course, that'll be. Oh, wait, just give me a moment. That'll be 4 credits.
I'll hand over
Unless.
the credits.
Okay, great. Yeah, he transfers it over, no problem.
Mhm.
He pours you a nice big tall glass of blueberry flavored cider. It definitely has a very light purple tinge to it. He goes, enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Uh, give me a moment here. Let me think. Uh, as far as the NPCs go, Alicia and Tucker kind of drift over towards you, Tom. Begin just some small talk in regards to what uh, Tucker's new position over here in Lacree is going to be. He mentions that, well, he doesn't know about new position. He's still trying to, figure out what everything is going on, right? And Blink is actually heading over to the barkeep as well, and it looks like she's buying a few of those little tin bits. She looks like she's buying about 10 of them or so, and she eventually meanders over to one of the tables where there's an open door, and she starts playing a little bit. But as things pass, Patrick, do you want to just join with the camaraderie of the folks over at the bar, or
Mhm.
do you want to do your own thing?
He's most likely going to stick around a little bit, but he's going to get a little curious on where the owner of the establishment went off to.
Oh, sure. Do you want to ask the current bartender?
Yes.
Oh. Trace explains. Oh, Sophie. Yeah, Sophie. She went to visit some family over at the in the Manastique Imperium. She left a few days ago. She left the place to me for a week or so. As long as it's back in one place, she said she'll give me a promotion. So hopefully nothing gets trashed. He kind of gives a bit of a chuckle.
Never gets old. Uh,
Gives a smile and a wink. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you something.
yes.
Word is around town, well, as much as you can hear from the drunks and degenerates, and he yells over to the grab, and there's a couple fingers that come up from the gambling tables that hang around here, but I hear a little while back one of your friends was in a bit of an incident. She started spouting out all this crazy talk about, humanity dying, and she's reciting some sort of weird ass poem. Is that true?
I was gonna think. Which lady?
Mila.
Yeah, he's most likely going to try to get the description of Mila. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, her.
I know her well. She's a very good friend of mine.
Okay, so, is it true?
Oh, I.
I gotta feed the rumor mill once in a while, and since you're not drinking anything, I figured I might as well get something for you stopping on by. We finally did repair that crack in the wall.
Oh, good. Oh, actually, if you did want something, Patrick is going to dig around in his bag and pull out another personal computer. and starts scrolling through it a little bit. It's going to take him a small amount of time, but he gets to
Uh-huh.
a part of it and goes here, and he's going to ask for a napkin and something to write with.
Yeah, sure. Ducks under the bar, takes a napkin, and then rummages around his pocket. And a grubby little pencil is right next to it. Will that work?
Yeah. He's going to start writing down the recipe of the moonshine that he got oh so long ago.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's a bit of a local recipe, but I think
Yeah.
this would at least be something that the owner would be interested in.
Yeah?
I'm not quite sure exactly how hard the drinks get here, but this is supposed to be something called moonshine.
I've heard of moonshine. We don't have it here yet, though, but things might change. Huh. He says, and he folds up the napkin and puts it in his pocket. Thanks, Patrick. Well, you're welcome here anytime, regardless of what Sophie said. I mean, cracks can get repaired, right? And you're behaving yourself now.
Speaking of,
He has a big smirk on his face.
I think I'll see how my folks are doing. Still need to
Uh-huh.
catch up with them a bit.
Tell him I say hi.
Will do. And he's gonna pat Alicia on the shoulder and wave goodbye to her.
Oh, she gives a bit of a wave. And she, of course, she asks, "Oh, you're going already?"
Yeah, I'm gonna do a bit of catching up.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming out.
Mhm.
Sure you don't want a drink?
I wouldn't dream of it. As he almost does a small skip after saying that and goes to the door and out.
And all right, so you head out. As far as the rest of the evening at Bits and Pieces go, is there anything else in particular you wanted to do, Tom? I will take your silence as a no. In fact, you muted
Sorry.
yourself.
I was clicking the wrong button. So
I hate when that happens.
all I'm going to do is just how tall is this blueberry cider?
Tall?
Like a pint glass?
It's about a pint. Yeah, it's a pint. Pint o' cider.
Okay. I think he's just gonna converse with Alicia and
Tucker?
And then
Sure.
after that, order one more pint, and then
Mm-hmm.
head back to where they're gonna sleep for the night.
Okay.
Probably the beginning.
Well, then, cool. Well, I'll wrap things up a little bit. Just before you finish your second pint, Blink comes back with only half the bits that she originally left with, and kind of gives a bit of a curse as she cashes out, for lack of a better word. She shoves her cred stick in the back of her pocket, and she kind of gives a smirk and a shrug to you, and she says, "Guess I'm not that lucky."
There's always next time.
Sure, I guess. But I feel like I spent 50 credits learning a dice game, but I guess it could be a whole lot worse.
Yep.
If it's okay by you,
Mhm.
I'm gonna rest on the behemoth for tonight. If that's okay.
Of course.
Okay. Thanks for being all right with this so far. Just like I said, gotta let it all sink in, figure things out. You know?
Take your time. I
Okay.
already screwed up really badly, so I don't want to push things more.
She shakes her head a little bit, and she'll depart. Tucker and Alicia are going to hang about the bar for a little while longer, but you're able to make it back at Patrick's place, no problem.
Okay.
So, then the only other question is, guys, I think this is a perfect time to wrap things up.
Sure.
But the only question is, though, is there anything else you guys want to talk amongst yourselves about, or talk with Patrick's folks about? Yeah, what's up?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, Al would have spent the evening, if possible, just talking to Patrick's parents.
Sure, and about anything in particular?
No, actually, more just small talk, just having a good time talking to his parents.
Okay, all right, okay. I personally can't come up with any particular subjects, but if we're okay with your experience, just saying that you guys engage in some small talk, get to know each other, all that good stuff.
Yeah, he'd ask
That's
questions
fine by
about
me.
Patrick as a kid, things like that.
Sure, sure. All right, fair enough. Well, you'll learn. I'll just do really big, broad strokes, but you'll
Mhm.
learn that Patrick was a. Now, actually, wait. Let me not talk about Patrick's character. Let's have Piph talk about Patrick's character. So, what would your parents say about Patrick when he was younger?
You would have to ask specific questions to get anything super specific, but generally, Patrick was a rather energetic boy, liked to run around a lot, and it was hard to keep him in one spot for a while until we introduced them to a book. Any sort of reading material, I think it was just a instruction manual, and he took to it immediately, asking questions about what this and that meant, and what just more and more questions about what it was, and frustrated about exactly what he couldn't understand until he finally got something, and he couldn't be any happier because of it. Once we heard a scholar was going through the city, even having her own reading material, we asked her if we could interest her, be part of her introduction to reading and maths and things like that. Whatever could teach Patrick, because he's always more and more questions and always wanted to read and learn more, especially of the outside world. And every day he would come back and say how just new and spectacular things that he wanted to do. He wanted to build a giant robot and go out and have it go to the bottom of the lake, see what could possibly be there.
Okay. Yeah, Al would just listen to these stories, bright-eyed, looking incredibly content and happy. He would mention that as a group, we don't talk to each other much about our pasts. So it's really, really fun for him to learn a little bit more about someone who he's started to consider a brother.
They would have a gentle smile and and say, well, at least it's not... They would actually be extremely forward to say, at least it's not from us.
That's funny. Cool. So I'm thinking, I was planning, I guess this was a very heavy roleplay session, not that I mind that at all, honestly. But I'm thinking probably beginning of next session, is it fair to say you guys would be heading towards the Northern Gun, also known as Ipshiming?
Yeah.
There.
Perfect. Well, then the adventure shall continue then.
Dun dun.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun.
dun. Still streaming?
Still streaming.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Wait.
What's up?
You. Thanks for watching. I just realized I should actually say goodbye to the chat as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
goodbye to those of you who are watching from YouTube.
I salute you.
Woohoo!
Ciao.